hope you enjoyed our new intro. Um, it is so wonderful to be here, and I'm so happy to see you all here. And of course, I don't even want to waste a minute. I want to go ahead and tell you who's joining us, and then we may have future people joining us. It's going to be a party any which way you fold it. So first off, of course, my partner in crime, my best brother, my only brother, Tom is here. Hello, Tom.
Hello.
Tom made the intro. Isn't it wonderful? I love it. I hope you do too. It has a lovely anime vibe to me. Isn't it wonderful? I love it. I hope you do. All right. And then, who should be here but wandering through? We caught a wild doll. Hello.
Hi. Good to see you guys.
It's lovely to see you. We've been chatting backstage and having a good time.
Yeah, they got to actually see me, but Showtime. Showtime. You stick to the avatar over there.
Exactly. That's totally cool. So, would anyone like to do an intro?
Okay. I'll do it.
Okay.
Hello there, humans. I am Del Cecil Bruno. I am a partially blind own voices author, also known as the Ace from. So explore other genres with my short stories, and I write a little bit of poetry. I stream on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern because I'm sticking with my time zone for a change. So it's 9 a.m. Eastern, and I will be streaming on Twitch very, very soon at the same time, 9 a.m. Eastern on Fridays and probably Saturdays. We will see if my stamina allows it. But so for now, I have a few short stories published. A thriller crime called Danger, and a romance that was part of an anthology that's called Leiterljós or Guiding Light. And I have other short stories in audio format that you can find on my YouTube channel for free. No, nothing. So if you want to support me, you can buy the ebook version of Danger or whatever. And I have a Patreon or coffee or whatever you prefer, the way.
Doll?
It's just me.
Did my Wi-Fi cut off?
Oh, okay. I was like, what's happening? Real quick, though, because I don't want to leave her out in the cold. Maggie has joined us. Hello, sugar.
Hello, lovelies.
Yeah, I'm sorry, doll. I think you froze there for a little bit, and I was like, is it me? Have the Matrix glitch?
No, it's a glitch from it's my Wi-Fi. Welcome to Argentinian Wi-Fi, where everything glitches every now and then.
Oh, you are preaching to the choir here. Okay, Wi-Fi. Maggie, how's your Colorado Wi-Fi going?
Hi, Maggie.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we hear you just fine. Yeah, I guess now that it's not snowing all the time, your internet's working a little better.
Maybe. Maggie? Okay. At some point, we will catch a wild Maggie again. At least we hope so. Tom.
Oh, dear.
I'm sorry, doll. Did you have anything more you wanted to include in your intro?
No, I think I'm fine. I said what I had to say. So thank you for having me on the show.
I'm sorry the Wi-Fi gremlins are, being a bit bugbear today. Maybe we could make a snack sacrifice and they will be appeased. And so there's Tom. Tom is here. Tom does a bunch of the tech stuff, and he helps me run the chat because it's a lot for one person with ADHD to do. And also, I don't know, Tom is,
I try to help out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm checking. You got me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi, Maggie. Would you like to do an intro?
Yes. Hi, I'm Mama Maggie, MM Ward on Amazon, Penumbra Mine on Inkit and Wattpad. I am a multi-platform published writer who began writing after I had a stroke as part of my language recovery. kind of the theme of my writing is when, you get knocked down or everything, life always gives you a choice. You can be bitter or you can get better. And I choose better. I have 25 stories on Inkit, and I have 10 stories on Amazon. The most recent is called A Huntsman's Horror, which is the fourth book in my Huntsman of Adama's trilogy. And I'm a goat farm mom and stroke survivor from Colorado, USA.
That's awesome. Thank you, Maggie.
You're welcome.
Let's see. I did. All right. I do at least have this. This is Maggie's Inkit.
That's where all of my rough drafts, because I know not everyone can afford Kindles. And so all of my rough drafts remain for free on Inkit.
Oh,
So if
that's awesome.
anyone wants to read them, can't afford a Kindle, you can read it for free. I do have a link to my Ko-fi account, Ko-fi account. So anything's appreciated, but I write because I love it, not because I think I'm going to be the next. Who's the big author right now that's not in the middle of a political scandal? I can't think of any.
Is there one?
I can't think of any. She who shall not be named. That face. I love you, Glory. All the love.
No, I didn't mean it about you. I meant it about she who shall not be named. Like,
Not that one, please.
the Voldemort, the one who became her own Voldemort. Anyhow, oh, and okay, so Tom, you were like, I'm not doing an intro today? That's cool. No?
No, actually, I was trying to get a few other things set up and running because it turns out they were not running the way I thought they were.
Oh, okay. Did you want to do an intro?
No, not really.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. And hi, I'm Glory. You've ended up on my channel or my Twitch stream.
I found the Twitch.
Yay! Yes, I'm on Twitch. And yeah, we do this every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. This week we're going to talk about allies and friends, and next week we're going to talk about autism and music. And also, essentially, like, the subtitle is share your playlist. Everyone come with your playlist that you want to share. It could be anything. Playlists you listen to.
I have a playlist.
Playlists while, you're going out walking in nature. It could be playlists while you're meditating or you're trying to not
playlist for my book.
People. Yeah, any playlist. Any and all playlists on any and all platforms. Oh my God, yes, thank you for the puppy. Hello, sweet baby face. This is how I got it.
This is the baby. This is the rescue baby.
Oh, look at all that energy. Oh my goodness, the boss.
She's going to be giant. Now, I want to show you something very important. Now, I'm going to show you my other puppy.
Okay.
Oh my God. Small.
Yes, I love it. Yes, Maggie knows how to give me what I want.
This is Ladybug, and she is a 9-year-old purebred Chihuahua.
Oh, wrong one.
Puppy!
Oh, I just want to cuddle her.
Come on, Lady, look at the screen.
Can I kidnap it?
Yes, I would love to. I just want to
Look
give
at
her
those
food.
ears.
Aw, that's
The alien
fantastic.
puppy.
Are they keeping you company? They're like, why are you talking to the screen, Mama?
It's yesterday. It was like 55 degrees, and the day before it was 65 degrees, and today it's horizontal snow.
I love the Maggie weather updates, but holy cow!
No,
Wow.
on everything.
Can't make up its mind.
It's Colorado. Colorado in the winter or in the spring is basically bipolar. Mother Nature needs a Midol, a glass of wine, and a big slice of chocolate cake.
Yeah, I could relate. Yes. Thank you so much for the animal update, Maggie.
Yes.
You know
Well,
it's why I'm here.
well, they heard your voice, and so they were all like they all come running in here from the living room,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, well, okay, get in mommy's lap.
Right, absolutely. I'm so glad that the animals understand how the system works. I need all the puppies and kittens and goats and whatever you got. I'll take birds, fish, anything. That's how I got sucked into AuthorTube, and I'm like, I thought there would be more animals in AuthorTube once I got here, and you could keep cuddling her forever for all I care.
Oh, she'll let me too. She'll let me. She loves being up in the love. She has hypoglottia, so her tongue is like just slightly too big for her mouth. So it just sticks out all the time.
That just makes it cuter.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Well, should we go ahead and say hi in the chat?
Hello, Eva. Hello, Megan. I know they're here. They're always here.
Yeah, they're here.
Yep. And CB is here.
Hi,
Hello. Yeah, Megan's here. Eva is here. Maggie's doing double duty with the lovelies. Tom is here doing double duty. Let's see. Scrolling. There is CB. Hello, sweetie. Hi. Aw. Yes. I mean, I feel like the puppy update is the highlight. Although the weather part was really nice, too. It's what, 670s here today? By the way,
I love you, Glory.
I know. I know.
60s.
If I could, I would ship it to you, honey. You just don't know. It's 71 right now outside.
That is too hot.
Yeah. And Tom CB says the new intro is awesome.
Cool.
Because, Tom made it. Wherever he is. Tom's over on the Twitch also doing double duty. And then there is Doll doing double duty too.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm looking. Oh, and there is Violet. Hello, Violet. Or writing. I like what you want to go by, Violet?
I hear people call her Violet, so that's fine. Hi, Violet.
Well, so we're all here.
Shall we start with our what we learned this past week?
So old business. Let's talk old business.
Yeah,
first.
let's talk old business first. What did Gloria and I learn? If we ever, and we probably will, do another episode on PTSD, where we are going to talk about our own as well. We have to not only do that week's, YouTube banners and pictures and all that, but we also need to do the following weeks, because whether you realize you're triggered or not, we're not in great condition for the rest of the week. It's been a bit rough. We didn't realize how stressed we were going to kind of stay for a while, but we have now learned.
Grammarly can help you.
I'm sorry. I'm having technical problems. And they're mostly internal.
And you can tell we're still a little distracted. It's not that we have a problem talking about it or, talking with others to help better explain, help everyone else understand better. But, it's a journey that never ends.
So there's always the echo. There's always the echo. Whenever you try to deal with trauma, talk about it, no matter how well you think you're done with it, that little worm it's like an earworm. It's like an earworm from a song that you hate, and it's stuck and it just repeats.
Yep.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Because I too had the echo in my head this week for a couple of things.
Because we were talking to each other, it's like, why are we acting like this towards each other? We're not actually upset, but we are still.
We're acting like we're upset with
edge.
each other, but we're not actually upset with each other. We're just upset in general. So it's like tone of voice. It's all coming out like it's intense. And that's not what we mean to be communicating.
But it's also our filters, because we're hearing it as more intense than it is because we're already on that.
Yeah, already edged.
Yeah.
Just a little bit edgy. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So we did the thing that we know to do. We had a party. Sure, it was just the two of us. But we got the crawfish. We boiled the potatoes and the corn. We found something to watch. Being the nerdy nerds that we are, we watched several video essays from The Take. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this YouTube channel.
Yeah, I know them.
But, I want to go ahead and say I had recommended to Tom, I had watched the one on Jewish American princesses as a stereotype. And I was like, I want you to watch it too. I think you'd enjoy it, because I found it to be one of the few that were, I would say, fairly accurate. I would not say that it really added much new to the conversation, but unlike so many other times when mainstream-ish media, even, printed media, tries to talk about, oh, sweet baby, don't be cold, tries to talk about the Jewish American experience, they always are off. They're always like, sometimes grossly inappropriately off. Of like, do not mistake the real experience for the Catskill jokes. There is a difference. The whole point of jokes is, you're throwing everything in disarray and extremes in order to be funny, to make a point, to be humorous. So, I was like, hey, let's watch these and see what you think. So we watched the one on Jewish American princesses, which I actually would recommend to anybody who's interested in better understanding this particular stereotype and its origins and what's going on. They actually sum it up very well. As I said, that's why I thought it was worth watching with Tom. Was I think they did an excellent summation. The second one that we watched together was the one on being basic, because I think they recently came out with that one too. And we then discussed for like an hour the overlap. Like if it's a Venn diagram, the sliver in the middle is wider than a sliver of like, have you noticed that the sexism and the similarity but yeah, why are we like faulting people for enjoying spiced coffee? But and scarves. What's wrong with scarves? Scarves are lovely.
I don't. I watched one of the videos by them. Well, I watched a couple of videos, but like there was one about like the spicy Latina stereotype thing.
I wondered about that one.
They are missing a couple of things historically. So, like for example, they put the Carmen opera as like they reduce it to like a spicy Latina thing, and I'm like, the Carmen opera is more than just that. So that was off, and so there were a couple of things that were really off. And there is a part about Latino culture that maybe they don't understand. It is that some people like. How can I put this in a way that it doesn't get misunderstood? You guys read my book anyway. Latina women, the majority. I am the worst Latina mix example I can be, because I'm a half and half. I'm a half breed. I'm not 100%, so I'm a mix. And when it comes to my adopted heritage, it's even worse. So I'm not the best example for this. But like generally, Latina women enjoy their sexuality. They enjoy the spicy Latina. Some of them, I mean, it's sometimes it goes to the extreme even, and then they complain that they are treated like sex objects. But honey, I mean, really. So it is a contradiction in itself.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is a part that the girls from The Take maybe don't. I mean, they are white women. They don't get it.
Yeah.
And I hadn't watched the one, but I did want to say, of like, if anybody ever has like, hey, Glory, this video essay does a pretty good job of going over something that you might enjoy. Which, let's be honest, y'all, I literally watch YouTube on average 2 to 6 hours a day. So there's definitely time that you can just send me the link, and then I'll fit it into the playlist when I'm feeling in the mood to binge YouTube again. I mean, I don't actually watch it every single day, but yeah, when I do, it's an all day thing. Because like while I'm like, say for instance, working on graphic design stuff, I will have YouTube going with all these sort of like, I guess we could say video essays. So I'm very much interested in anybody recommending any. Please send me a link. You could DM it on any of my social media, or even email it if you prefer, or even just tell me about it so that I can look it up later. Because we just enjoy, at least I enjoy watching video essays, or at least listening most.
Some of them are very interesting. I like to
familiar
watch
with that
it.
many. It's whatever YouTube recommends. I don't really know beyond that.
And like that's what we were talking about that last night with part of the reason why we did in part talk a lot about the Hays Code was watching what's her
Rowan
name?
Ellis, and her video essay about the Hays Code was so inspiring because she summed it up so well that I was like, yes, I feel like she's given these talking points that, because like, again, the problem or one of the real communication issues with autism is I know what I want to say, but I'm not sure how to make it into words that make sense to other people. So it's so inspiring when other people like have essentially summations of something, and that gives me the vocabulary and the phrasing so I understand how to communicate to other people effectively these ideas I have and these points of view I want to bring up. So
yeah, it is very interesting. Sometimes I watch video essays to, like, even if it's not accurate or whatever, like in the case of the takes one on the Latina trope, I was like, but I mean, this is a part of me that also gets to learn how they perceive things, how things are perceived in the States versus like, how other people perceive it. So it is interesting, even if it's not 100% accurate or whatever. It's good to hear. It's good to hear what other people's got to say, because like it just adds to the conversation. I like that very much.
Like for me, there's so much misinformation and negative things said about the Jewish experience, especially the Jewish American experience, that it's like, oh no. It has to be like 98% accurate, or I'm not going to recommend it to anyone else because I don't need to perpetuate negative information or incorrect information because people already have such a flawed idea of the Jewish American experience. It's like, I don't need to add to, because people just seem to like latch on to all the things that's like, no, that was the part you were supposed to kind of ignore.
I'd say the only one we actually kind of enjoyed that does combine both the Latino and the Jewish experience was I've forgotten her name.
Give us a hint. First word.
She did that. YouTuber who did that video on insults across Latin America and how hard it is to not.
Okay, yeah.
Joanna
Hausman.
Yeah, Joanna Hausman.
Got, shit to say. Yes. She does. She does have somewhere on hers. She's got one or two videos about her own kind of unique experience being
the mix, like Latina Jewish.
The daughter of immigrants or the granddaughter. I can't remember which one.
Daughter.
Of immigrant. Was it okay? Of like this very unique experience of being Venezuelan and part of that Latina culture, but also being Jewish, which is a wild ride in Venezuela, I gather.
Oh, yep.
So, and also she's very intelligent and she's good at explaining it. That's what I appreciate versus me, who's like, stuff words. I swear I write good.
Yeah.
Words are friends.
I have the same problem when it comes to speaking.
Yes.
I have the same problem. I can write.
Yes,
maybe
I can edit that.
Yeah, exactly. But I can write maybe. I think I can write, but when it comes to speaking, I am like first of all, my brain is fighting between English, Spanish, Italian, Finnish, and a little bit of Icelandic that wants to come out, or Russian maybe. I don't know. And my brain is like it's like trying to fight which language should come out all the freaking time.
Don't feel bad, doll. Since my stroke, I any words coming out is a problem, because it's like I like, well, when I was in the hospital, they showed me a picture of a baseball. And I knew everything about a baseball. I knew how many stitches were even in the leather on a baseball. I could not say the word baseball to save my life. I couldn't even spell it. And so having that, I know what this thing is. I know exactly what I want to say. The word is not in my brain queue.
Yep. It's just not coming. Yep.
Yeah.
I was surprised to find out recently, and rather entertained, is that even if they remove literally half your brain, the one thing you can still speak is curse words. They are so deep in your brain, you can literally not have any of the brain that speaks words, but the curse words you will still be able to do.
I don't know if that's true, because
No, it is. It's called, look up hemispherectomy.
I just stuttered random syllables when for the first 2 years after my stroke.
Right.
I would just stutter random syllables when I was mad. It was I sounded like Yosemite Sam. It was like that was me. Like cursing the goat.
Pushing your buttons?
Signs with the like words around the house, and you just.
Were your kids just pushing your buttons because it was too much fun not to?
The middle would occasionally. The middle would. She, or mainly it was the goats, though, because the goats didn't realize I wasn't steady anymore, and they would just they'd be like, "Oh, let's knock mom down."
Yep.
And there I am holding a bucket of feed, laying on the ground.
Oh.
Wow.
That sucks.
Yeah, so it means that if I lose a big part of my brain, I will still be able to say perkele the whole time.
Yeah, have a good time. I've learned that in English language cultures such as America and England and UK, you can curse in 4 languages and you don't get bleeped and nobody gets upset with you. So that is like my first Yiddish I ever learned from my mother was just how to curse in Yiddish. And I mean, nobody, not even teachers, have ever told me, like, don't say that. It's been great. So I've called a lot of people putzes who frankly had it coming.
Well, I mean, that was still one of our favorite stories from a theater tech friend.
Yes.
My grandfather never uttered a curse word. He never, in English. Let me clarify.
Yeah.
He never uttered a curse word in English. Now, I grew up listening to him, and I did not realize that I could curse in Cherokee and Algonquin until someone else was like, "You said
the kind of language you want to like carry from generation to generation." Oh, that's fantastic! So there you are.
My father,
among
my father is the only. I think my father is the only Finnish man I have ever met who doesn't curse. Because in Finland, everyone and their dog is like, perkele di, satana dad, vittu dis. You know, it's like every, curse words are normal there. No censorship, no nothing. Exactly. And then my father is like, per, and he just leaves it like that. You know what that meant, but he doesn't say it. And I'm like,
finish it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Isa, it's just perkele. Seriously, everybody says it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he and my great uncle Ray were actually cursing until I was like actually.
I'm the cons because I'm very much like, go on, and I want you to tell me real. I know we don't have the time, and I don't care. I want you to tell me the story of when you realized you were cursing in Cherokee, and I'm sorry I missed the other language because I was
in college. Okay. I was in college, and we didn't grow up on the reservation. Okay. Our family, we have a few cousins and stuff that live on the Oklahoma Cherokee reservation, And we have a cousin that actually married into the Zuni tribe, and she lives down on the border of the Zuni-Acoma reservation.
Okay.
And so I didn't realize it till I was in college, because that generation, because they had faced so many different, persecutions, I mean, my grandfather had cousins that had to go back to the Oklahoma reservation to live,
Okay.
because it wasn't safe for them to not live on the reservation in the 1950s and 60s. And
Yeah.
so my mother's generation was not taught the old language.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned from listening to my grandfather and uncle a little bit, but after my stroke, of course, it's all gone. But I was in college and I met someone who actually grew up on the Cherokee, Oklahoma reservation, and we were talking, and it was really natural for me to fall into the rhythm of speaking. Like, I felt like I was like they grew up with the language, and I had learned just bits and pieces of the language, and I said something that I had said my whole life without thinking about it, and they started laughing, and I was like, what did I say? And they were like, what do you think that word means?
Mm-hmm.
And I went, well, my grandfather would say this, if he hit himself on something, everything. I thought it meant kind of ouch. I thought that was our version of ouch.
Yeah.
And they were like, no. And so, yeah, that's how I discovered that my grandfather had a potty mouth.
I love it. I love intergenerational curse words.
There's this great book called what is this book? The purple one? Dictionary?
You're not talking about Purple Cow.
No. The one
You're
of
not talking about the
Yiddish.
Love of Yiddish.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the Joys of Yiddish.
Joys of Yiddish.
Oh, we just looked through that just for what's the curse words?
So let me tell you something about the Joys of Yiddish. I actually recommend it to everyone, even though technically Yiddish is a dying language, but there are so many free books you can get, by the way, if you can read Yiddish. So honestly, if you just want free books, go learn Yiddish, and then the Yiddish libraries will actually mail them to you. So, but the Joys of Yiddish is an entire book. It's a thick book, and it has all the words like a dictionary would, except nearly every word there's a joke to illustrate the definition of the word. So if you just want really good jokes, they're fantastic. But it also is, in fact, a great way to learn a language, is every word is associated with a joke that makes the point of the definition of the word.
Yeah, is it schmuck or putz?
Which
That's
one?
Our favorite.
Oh, well, the putz one is, look at that putz going down the street, because it was the man who wanted, I can't remember, let's say his name is Schmendrick, because it's appropriate, and I'll tell you one day what Schmendrick means too. Schmendrick, yeah, somebody knows what it means. Schmendrick has always wanted to ride an elephant. Always. And then one day the circus comes to town, and the way it used to be, children, those who were too young to remember, when the circus would come to town, the way they would announce that the circus was in town and they were now selling tickets is they would have a parade, like in the middle of a Wednesday, down the street, down Main Street. And he was like, hey, all I have ever wanted to do is ride an elephant down Main Street. Could I give you guys a little bit of money and I could ride your elephant when you parade? And they're like, yeah, I'll take your $10. Get on the elephant, whatever. And this is a long time ago. Don't cry for the elephants anymore. So there he is. They're going down Main Street, and it's a male elephant. And it does not have the usual skirt that they used to put on the elephant to hide an elephant's member. And there is Schmendrick's cousin and uncle standing on the corner of Main Street in front of their shoe shop going, well, you'll look at that putz walking down the street. Children, the meaning of putz is big dick. Will you look at that enormous dick walking down? And he's like, oh, you've seen me. Hi. And that is what putz means. Versus schmuck means kind of the opposite. Schmuck derives from little baubles. Like for Christmas trees, tiny little balls, decorative balls. and that is a schmuck. And in fact, somebody who makes schmucks is called a schmuckle. Yes, exactly. Thank you. A schmuck. So when you call someone a schmuck, you are saying they have very small bubbles.
Decorative balls.
They're for decorative purposes only. They are not useful.
They
But
are
I mean, but I
dangle
love it.
impaired.
But I love the joke that goes with it.
Do you remember the joke? Because I still always think of Mr. Schmuckle.
If I remember right, it's the schmuck one.
That was a
But
real name.
it's the court case.
Oh, no, that's chutzpah.
Oh, you're right. That's chutzpah.
You're thinking of the joke about there's literally so many jokes to illustrate get the book. I highly recommend. It's just a great read.
But chutzpah still is just one of the most special jokes I've ever heard. It's a man who murders his parents and throws himself on the mercy of the court because he is now an orphan.
That's chutzpah.
That guy has chutzpah. But yeah, every single word has a joke.
So
pretty much.
But YouTube's not going to be upset with us for cursing. There's a puppy and a person behind you. Oh, so anyway, has everybody gotten their snack? I would just like to point out. Tom toasted some pecans for me. So they are hand toasted. And when I say hand toasted, I mean he did it in the toaster oven. They're great. Highly recommend. And has everybody got their snack? Because I thought now might be a great, decorative schmucks for the schmuckles with chutzpah. I've just lost Maggie again. I didn't know that I could just curse in Yiddish and just delight Maggie for the day. Now I have a new goal. I'll just send her short videos. Just DMing them. Hey, Maggie.
I'm fine. It's fine.
It's so fine.
Everything's fine. I thought now might be a good time to do a 10-minute timer. Let everybody, if you don't have a snack, go get yourself a snack. Maybe some hot water. Hydrate or dihydrate. I mean, I hear that it sounds like a cult, but you know what? I'm here to be part of it.
Hydrate or dihydrate.
See, Maggie's absolutely right. Hydrate or dihydrate.
I remembered where the first place I heard that was.
Where's that? Tell us origin.
Back in high school when I was running long distance in track.
Okay.
That was my distance coach was always saying hydrate or dihydrate.
I mean, your coach wasn't wrong.
Well, turned out he had actually, somebody on his running team had died from cardiac. They had something, they dehydrated during a half marathon and fell over dead.
Ooh.
So that's where he got it from. And I finally remembered where was the first place that I heard that, because Eva asked me, where did you come up with that? And I was like, but no, it was 1984. So
the book. We'll see if we can find you an internet archive version of The Joys of Yiddish.
I mean, it's an old book.
Yeah, it's a really old book. So in theory, we should be able to. But yeah, Maggie, thank you for letting us know the origin story on Hydrate or Dihydrate, the cult that all of us AuthorTubers now belong to.
Look,
I am here for this. No, it's a great way to remember Hydrate or Dihydrate. Granted, I am drinking coffee, but totally counts.
It's too cold not to drink coffee today. Where I'm at, I gotta have something warm. I've had coffee, tea, and hot cocoa today, and I'm still not warm.
We found a local grocery store that sells New Orleans style roasted coffee beans, and it really does taste like the coffee from Cafe Du Monde, and it just takes me back, and it just makes me so happy because I miss travel. I miss just running down to New Orleans on a whim in the middle of the night for beignets and coffee and people watching in the French Quarter at 3 a.m. I miss it. So it's a nice it elicits memories.
I've only been to New Orleans twice, and that was for Mardi Gras both times. So
you should totally come again with us.
But I don't like New Orleans coffee. Because I don't like chicory. I will clarify that. I don't like chicory. And every time we got a cup of coffee, it had chicory in it.
All of New Orleans coffee has chicory in it. Although this that we got doesn't have chicory. So if you don't mind dark roast, though, because it is dark roast.
No, I like dark roast.
Then you might actually like this coffee that we recently found, because it doesn't have chicory, but it has that lovely dark caramelized taste. that sort of bitter sweet, like my soul kind of taste.
Oh,
and,
nice.
and I enjoy it. I've been very pleasantly surprised. I mean, I like chicory, but I understand it's not for everyone. I only like it because I grew up down here, and this is what I am used to. So it's fine. But this doesn't have chicory, if I recall correctly, but it does have that lovely dark roasted, bittersweet caramelized taste that, oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, I can't do chicory. I just, no.
Yeah. Maybe, you know what, it's probably just
Mhm.
as well. It's not like you've got intestinal parasites anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't like clove either, so all the
I mean, that was the
PSL
original
people.
reason they put it in. Chicory, they put in chicory into coffee originally, because that was before the Civil War, was to expel intestinal parasites, which were very common down here in the Deep South, pre-refrigerators, pre-electricity, pre-everything. Intestinal parasites was a problem. And chicory will expel it even without coffee. It will. It's been used for hundreds of years. I know it's been used in Chinese medicine for over 1,000 years to expel intestinal parasites.
I should say we, my family, my people, we always use white elm.
Probably tastes better, is my guess.
Either way, you don't want the reason for drinking either of those.
I mean, yeah.
No kidding.
Like, I once had someone brought me a stray basset hound because they knew that I'd always wanted a basset hound. And it was a juvenile puppy. He was enormous. And he had intestinal parasites. And I was like, yeah, I hope to never have this problem. Let's go to the vet now. Didn't even let him in the house. But yeah. Anyhow, I was thinking we could do a 10-minute sprint. Give everybody time to get your liquids. Got water running.
Snacks.
Are we going to share a one of our music playlist, our writerly music playlist?
That's what we were planning for next week.
Yeah, that's next week.
Is the music episode. But I'm just saying, if you're like, I have a playlist I need to share now. Maggie, come back.
Oh no.
I was just saying we could still share it. It's
Yeah.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
You ready?
Yeah.
all right, everybody. I will see you back here in 10 minutes. In 3, 2, 1, sprint. Beep 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 beep.
And we're back. Woo!
Yep, we've made it.
Yay!
Yay! And we are still in search of our very own Maggie.
Maggie, come back!
She is having the wind when it picks up. She's having problems. So, I mean, it was lovely to have her for a little bit. Maybe the wind will die down again. So
It's because she couldn't share the playlist. She left us.
she did leave us a lovely playlist, y'all.
Oh!
She did. So open that up in another tab. I should probably do that while I'm thinking of it too. Just like literally pause for just a sec while I'm distracted, and I'm just gonna like make that little playlist.
When we pause for station identification.
Yes, think amongst yourselves. It's called writing music, electro swing. All right, y'all. I'm gonna spend a minute. I'm really looking forward to this. Okay, so all right.
My goal for this week is going to be finish the playlist I made for the book.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I have a scene by scene playlist that I need to finish. It's like if you listen to the book like the way that Tom was reading it, like with the as if it were an audiobook but with a robot. I have background music that goes with everything.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And I'm not normal. I know.
I was planning to do the same thing for my my romance, my nano romance I was working on in November.
So
there's essentially an ongoing playlist, and it literally is the songs that are mentioned scene by scene.
Wow.
I keep mentioning, so it starts with French music because it's a pool party hosted by the two little old French ladies who own the apartment complex, and they have every midday they have a lovely pool party. And so there's French music. There's their kind of favorite French music playing, and there's several songs mentioned in the first scene. So,
Champs-Élysées.
hey. I mean, look, how could you not just sing along whenever somebody plays the song? So, but yeah, like, yeah. So, I mean, I figured a lot of writers are inspired by music. And as well as other people. So CB's got 102 words. That's fantastic.
Still being industrious as ever, showing the rest of us what it's like to.
Is such an inspiration. Like anytime I'm like, I just don't know that I have it together to write 3 words in a row, and there's CB going, yeah, pull it together. And I'm like, okay, I guess I can. I could do this. I could keep doing this. CB keeps going. I could keep going too. Such an inspiration. Oh, CB's got a playlist for Camp Nano. Yes. Oh, awesome. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Oh, no.
The gremlins are real, y'all.
The gremlins are real. They are out
here.
of your work. Put it, anything that you actually care about, try like putting it in clouds. Like I just took Maggie's playlist and I opened it in another tab, but in case my computer crashes, I also posted it to my own Telegram group so I would be able to see it later. So if anybody else loses track of it, let me know. I'll send you the link again to Maggie's playlist. And we, of course. But yeah, think about like next week, everyone, for your playlist, because that's going to be our season wrap-up episode. We are going to have a super fun time.
It's going to be so cool.
It's going to be cool. Yes.
Music is totally my jam. Used to be a musician. I talk about it in my videos. Like I mentioned that I used to be a singer, songwriter. So now I'm a writer, but I mention it often. So like, yeah, it's obvious that I cannot work without music. I don't know how some people can write in silence. I just can't. I need to edit in silence, or the weird thing about my editing is that I have a few options that are like my go-to, and I can listen to them on repeat and it's fine. Like entire albums by Linkin Park because Tibor, duh. But also I like the entire discography of Hallo Helsinki. because it's in Finnish, and my brain is like, yeah, it's like in the background, and I can edit my thing with that. But silence. It's very rare that I can work in silence. Like it just my brain goes everywhere. I go on a million tangents. I'm thinking about the volcano that exploded. Anything. But silence is kind of distracting me. Hey, Maggie's back.
Maggie's made it! Yay! The wind needs to die down. Calming thoughts to the Colorado wind. I will say, like, sometimes when I'm writing, I do find pure silence because even though we're in an apartment, surprisingly, like, it's a whole neighborhood where it's very quiet during the day. Like suspiciously quiet during the day. It is so quiet. And we're surrounded by really tall trees because it's an older area. And so the wind gets caught up in the canopy and you don't hear much sound down here at the house level. And so it gets like quiet, like deafening quiet.
Oh, so quiet.
Like, yes.
It's oh so still. Sorry. I need to sing here.
I have an entire ambiance playlist of like 132, which is like sort of like my junk folder of playlist of all sorts of ambiance, whether it's inside a tavern with light clanking dishes and a fire, so there's a little crackle going. I've got dungeons playlist. I mean, ambiance, so you hear like the drip drip in a cavern. You name it, I've got a playlist for every kind of scene writing because I need there to be something in the background, but very quiet. But it does help set mood, I will say. So
lovely.
I have like an incredible like junk folder of ambiance music and just sounds that are in fact very helpful. I'm sorry, Maggie.
Oh,
I really appreciate that you were giving it a try, though. By the way, Maggie, like we have like an Instagram group of the friends of the show, and it won't let me add you to it so that you can just see the StreamYard link every week because that's where we post it. So maybe you and I could get together and figure out what's going on with that. So
do you follow Maggie on Instagram?
I do.
Does she follows you back?
And we've DM'd in Instagram. It just won't let me add her to the group. It says I can't.
Interesting.
So it may be a setting. I don't know. Or I don't know. I don't know enough about Instagram to say that I have a clue what's actually happening, if I'm brutally honest. So no job. I do not have any in my playlist. That's all I can say. Yes. When the animals are too quiet, they're getting up to something or they are having a nap.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yes, Charlie has already posted for us their work in progress playlist on Spotify, so we can enjoy that too. So, right quick, just opening that up for myself. So
I'm gonna save it for next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Is I'm just opening it up so I have it, the link, and putting it in my little Telegram for later. Okay, so we figured we would actually talk about the subject today.
Should we actually talk about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Megan, too, that she probably has it as a setting, so we'll figure it out. We'll figure out one way or another. Maybe she can like change her setting for a minute and I can then add her, then she can change it back. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. But anyhow, so allies and friendship. Did you want, Tom, you talked about doing a definition first.
Yeah, should we first just like, at least to me, what they are? I mean, we've all got our own, but to me, a friend is someone that you enjoy being around because they spice up your life. They just make everything more interesting when they're there with you to do anything. And that's why you want to stay around your friends. Everything you do in life is now more enjoyable because they're there.
Yeah, sort of the companionship thing.
Yeah. Which is never to be confused with an ally. Most of the people you meet at work are allies. They're not friends. You have a common cause. That's what an ally is. They are someone who's joined you because you both have the same cause. Your personalities have nothing to do with it. So you're going to stay, but you're going to stay around each other as long as the cause is, what you're both working towards. I mean, but that could also just be like a fandom. There's plenty of people, we've joked about they're fun to talk about a fandom with, or, to join in with the fandom, but otherwise, no, you have no interest in hanging out with them. They're an ally. But just like, which sort of brings us to, part of why we bring this up on the Awkward Siblings about really, autism and allies. What makes an actual ally?
Well, okay. So here's the thing that it occurred to me that both autistic folks as well as people who, wish to be friends and or allies of autistic folks, of actually autistic people, may not realize that unlike with apparently many other situations where there's some sort of like one family member has a disability or some sort of other difference about them, where I would say most, if not all, their family members are very much advocates for them. There is this very, I think it's unexpected phenomenon of not everybody who is a family member of an autistic person is necessarily an ally of autistic people.
I mean, not everyone in the family of anyone with a disability, period, is an ally.
Yes, it is true.
And I think it's that confusion people have about there's a huge difference between like autism and other things that people are born with. Mm-hmm. And so, that's essentially always part of them, versus like we really got introduced to allies and stuff with like breast cancer and other causes of, things that happen to people later in life. And it's a lot
easier. Friends are happy to donate money for your relay for life, for your cancer drives, for whatever, like absolutely. But they're not, they're truly just trying to act as allies versus, like we were talking about, what is somebody who's, how do we describe someone who seems like an ally, but is not necessarily actually behaving in a positive ally way? And the best way, like I can think of it, I'm not saying this is like a definitive definition, so everyone jump in. But like if an ally goes up to the podium, like at some meeting, convention, rally, whatever, and is saying like, the next person coming up, I want to introduce you to, they're wonderful. They have this really amazing story of how they, whatever, fill in the blank. And I want you all to pay attention and give them a round of applause. Right? Okay, that would be, like a hype person trying to like kind of get everybody ready to hear your story as you talk about whatever this situation or, this, what's going on. What is this shared cause we have? Versus somebody who portrays themselves as an ally but is not necessarily behaving in an ally kind of way is somebody who goes up to the podium and says, this next person is going to speak, da-da-da, and then they proceed to tell your story for you to the crowd, taking out all your wind and how your story relates to them personally and how they find it so inspiring. But like having told your whole story.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like they seem like an ally and they go through they check so many of the boxes of an ally, but they're not actually behaving in an ally kind of way.
See ya.
You're absolutely right. I agree with you. So
sorry.
No, there's no reason to apologize when we mention the other Voldemort. So that was like what we wanted, like among other reasons we wanted. So like I perceived it, because this was again, at the end of last season of Awkward Sibling Hour, this was my pitch for the second season of I want to cover this topic. Because I had a situation where I came in contact with someone who had presented themselves as an ally of autism, and they were definitely not an ally of autism. And I was kind of blindsided by it because they said so many of the things you are supposed to say as an ally, but then there was like this undercurrent of passive aggression, this microaggressive, and there I am, like just trying to, like, my mind is going 1,000 miles a minute, trying to figure out what is going on, because I did not. I mean, like, look, like y'all are always like, oh, Glory's so smart. I'm like, I'm not that smart if I'm like trying to figure it out. And I'm like, I swear to God, it took me 2 hours of like, I would not let these people go. It was a Zoom meeting, and I would not let them go. I kept telling them stories while trying to gauge all their faces and figure out what was happening, because I couldn't quite put my finger on the microaggressions and the passive aggressive little snide comments and things. They're very subtle. And I came out of that and was like, well, I want to do an episode on allies, but also friends, because we just had too many subjects. So we're like, we'll put them together. But anyhow, Maggie says, I know a lot of other autism moms that I wouldn't trust them with my children, and I feel bad for their kids because they identify as an autism mom. Their identity as an autism mom isn't about their kids, it's about them. Amen. Preach it, Maggie. This is like, so there's like this weird cultural subset in autism community. And I used to think that it was a very tiny, outspoken group of autism moms that were advocating for themselves as caretakers rather than advocating for their children as autistic people. And like, you could think, oh, well, their kids are still small. No. Let me explain. Even when their kids grow up, even when their kids are wanting to move out, they do things to prevent their children from being truly independent. And they shoot down their children's hopes and dreams. And they isolate their children from a young age, so they don't even know that there's really an autism community outside of autism moms.
Right.
Yeah, the passive aggressiveness and the adjacent victimhood of some autism moms. Yes.
The isolation aspect. I am not autistic, so I cannot speak on the autism situation, because like that's not my place to speak at all.
Sure.
I am visually impaired though, and I was born in a biological family of very, very, very ignorant people. Like to the point, it's ridiculous. The level of ignorance was it's still ridiculous, and to the point that I am unofficially adopted. I have other paternal figures that I go to. They are my family. That's the family that I chose. My biological family is just something that exists, but I don't care, and they don't care about me either. It's mutual. It's like I grew up to this mutual understanding that we were just family because life happened, not because we want to, not because we should. So the isolation aspect, the overprotection that I experienced growing up, the isolation was to the extreme. I was not allowed to see the world outside of the school that I attended.
Yes.
So like from the house to school, from the school to the house, and that was your life. Yep. So if I was bullied at school, which I was, my life was basically hell.
Yes.
And I had nothing else going on. I'm writing about it. You bet I'm writing about it.
Yes. Yes. So, make that trauma work for you, doll.
Yeah, make the drama work for me.
Yes.
Make it work for me. And it's like, this is not just a thing about, it's a me thing. It's because I'm visually impaired. It has a lot to do with people with disadvantages, Sometimes people are born into families where the parent or the caretaker, whoever that is, will take advantage of the disadvantage of the the young person. They will try to control it. They will isolate the young person. They would make it about themselves. They would use the young person as a pawn to brag, like, oh, look at how greatly I'm raising this child or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, me. I am such an angel.
Right.
I am doing such good work by taking care of this person so that you all don't have to. And I deserve all the trophies. And it's like, okay, look, it's not that bad, really.
Sure, a caretaker has a hard time.
Oh, and
because
absolutely.
absolutely, because they have to adapt to the special needs of the young person, whichever the needs may be: a wheelchair, blindness, deafness, autism, ADHD, whatever it is.
Whatever, yeah.
You know, they have to adapt, and the young person has to adapt, and they have to find a way around it together. Yes, it is difficult, and yes, it will be difficult also for the caretaker.
Isolating for the caretaker, because there are people who think, or at least they act like they think, that all these things can be contagious, that autism can be contagious, that cancer can be contagious, that even just misbehavement of like ADHD or whatever can be contagious, that blindness and deafness. I wish I were making this up. And
no, you're not.
I wish, but I've literally seen it with my own experiences. I've experienced this, and by proxy, because I've had a lot of variety of friends as well from, frankly, a lot, like being an outsider myself. It was always like, oh, you're an outsider. Here's this other kid who's also shunned by society. Hey, or maybe you guys could be friends because you can commiserate, like, okay, but and I'm a friendly sort. So yes, I make friends everywhere. If you haven't picked up on that. I did real quick before we go too far, because I am upset with the Gremlins too, that the wind is picked up, because
we actually particularly wanted Maggie for this show.
Yeah,
and because of multiple ways
too. Like we wanted the autism moms who we have okay, let me just say it. We have vetted. We have interviewed the autism moms, and Heather couldn't be here today either because of scheduling conflicts. There were autism moms that we are they are great autism moms. We don't ever want anyone to think that we're shading them. We are not.
Not at all.
We have vetted the autism moms, because not all the autism moms and family members of autistic people on are safe. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not trying to backbite anyone, but there are some that we have vetted to exclude, because no, never. So anyway, I wanted to sort of give Maggie this voice.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something before I read her?
Okay. I'll just say it real quick. The other reason I also kind of wanted Maggie on is because we were talking about allies as a more universal concept. And when people aren't allies, but they really, really go out there saying they are to the public, that Maggie will definitely have had more experience than many, because we also see this so strongly in the U.S. with Native American groups and other people essentially doing I'm a white savior kind of trope versus letting people speak for themselves.
Yes.
And there's another ally situation we see play out way too often.
We see it a lot with people of color in America, of this whole I will be a savior of your community. And we wanted other people had experiences with this to add to it, add to the conversation. This will not be the only time we do this kind of show, though. This won't. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's Maggie, we know for sure, has had multiple variations on this same kind of situation.
I've had it. I have a lot of situations like that too.
Where people say they're allies in many different ways. And it's no, it doesn't play out for their allies.
I had it for blindness. I had it for being a foreigner when I lived in Europe. I and a half breed, which in Europe is
God.
In America, that's a really rude word to say.
Okay, mixed race.
But I understand. You're not saying. I'm just saying. It's used a very negative thing, in particular with First Nation folks. It's
through that. Thank you. In Europe, it's oh, but you're not from here, kind of thing. I lived. That was my breakfast, lunch, and dinner in Europe. It was but where are you from? But where are you from? But where are you from?
Yeah.
But where?
And that's why. And that's why whenever we hear people in Europe talking about why doesn't America have all of these features we have here in Europe, like universal health care, and it's, oh, because America's racist just like Europe is, but Europe only has a very homogenous group, so they're not racist against themselves.
and their minority groups
They
are
are. But
statistically
no,
quite
hang
much
on.
smaller.
They are racist against themselves. Like you put a Nordic and an Italian in the same room. Oof.
But that's just it. But they're two different countries.
So they
But,
don't have
yeah.
to interact that often.
The people in Italy don't have to cover
For the
and-
Nordics and the Nordics for
Yeah.
the Italian. Yeah, but like when they
and
meet.
that's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
like in the
I've
US,
had
we
this,
have to
yeah.
cover all of them. And
Mhm.
so we're like, we won't cover any of them because we don't want
Yes.
people we don't like to have any benefits.
Right. That
Okay.
yeah, that's a complicated thing. So but yeah, I have had it this ally situation. I've had it in all aspects. A person
Yeah.
of color, as a foreigner, as a blind, asexual, pagan even. Like I've had all kinds of yes, I am your ally, yes, I am your friend, and after a while it's like, nah, you are too much for me.
Exactly.
And I'm
So
over
let
here
me
like,
go
okay.
ahead and say Maggie's bit. I so want to be part of this discussion today because I spent 2 decades advocating for my daughter and teaching her coping rather than ever telling her she couldn't do everything.
I love you, Maggie.
But I know so many autism moms who are all about telling their kids nope and not even giving them a chance to evolve. And I wanted to scream, give them a chance. So not to get me going on the First Nations defender of the Red People dynamic. It is so frustrating to even watch and read about how just soul-crushingly negative First Nations people have had it.
God.
Absolutely.
But as well as, like, we have so much to benefit from, like, every level of just viewing First Nations as part of, like, egalitarian of, like, they have so much to contribute, but, like, this bigotry problem, and it is a serious problem, is blocking so much goodness, and it's just so hair-tearing out upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, yeah, like, we are going to keep revisiting this subject at least yearly. In part, we want to give everybody an opportunity, if they are interested, to like get on here and talk about their experiences, because I feel like that, if anything, enriches the conversation. And that's why we were trying to encourage everyone to write, to publish in their own way, however they're comfortable with. Because there are young people right now who absolutely, in this moment, feel alone, that they're the only person dealing with this, the troubles that they're dealing with. And they don't know that there are other people who've come before them, but maybe they could have stumbled upon the stories, the writing, the videos, whatever that we have to offer. We, as a greater collective group, I mean, not we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like the big W-we, Hello, Jules. Hello. It's so
Hi,
lovely.
Jules.
I'm so sorry I've been missing your stuff. I've been sleeping a lot since I got
No, she was just.
No, I miss getting to watch her videos, but it's like she does them earlier than I'm ready to like.
Mm.
Anyway.
Yeah, I get it. I'm streaming in the mornings, and it's like, I don't know if I want to wake up this morning, but I still do sometimes. It is a strong topic because I cannot speak for the American experience because I have not been to the States, not really. So that aspect I cannot really comment on. Because the only thing I know is what people tell me, but I have not been there, like lived in the States to really know what's going on. So in that aspect, I cannot speak. But like I feel like it's a global problem in general. But it depends on which culture you're in. It will be like a different kind of nuance of the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's nowhere to run really, because it's for a person like me who is like a mixed race and I don't really belong to one place or another because I am not pure this, pure that. I'm not pure. I know I hate that word.
It is
I hate it.
I
hate it.
It's an ugly word when used about human beings.
Right.
Other than, why, yes, we are pure human. No, we're not actually. We've had our DNA changed by various illnesses, viruses, and our DNA. we are who we are now because the bubonic plague changed every person's DNA on the planet so that we are not as sensitive to the bubonic plague. We are changed by our environment as a collective species. So there's no thing that's really pure.
Exactly.
That's not a thing. And you know what? I'm very grateful for it, because the thing that, has being not pure has made us stronger. It has made us more resilient. And that is the beauty of humans. I mean, there's some lovely things, but Eva was mentioning that she would like to know more about, allyship. And that was also one of the other reasons I wanted to do this episode, is specifically, like, as an autistic person myself, I have been trying to learn how to be as good an ally as I possibly can most of my life, because the things that some people tell me, oh, this is how you be an ally. Other people said, no, this is not good. Don't do this again. And I appreciate the feedback. But it's like, well, let's talk about it. And again, this is why we wanted a lot of other people on the show, and why I have been trying to book people for literally months for this particular episode. And obviously was like, wow, I'm not good at booking people, I guess. But I'm trying to get better, y'all. I'm trying to, like, make it a good pitch rather than how to convince someone not to show. We'll see. Give me a couple more seasons. Maybe I'll get better.
I feel like the thing about specifically the disability community, I don't know if it's the same. I have not experienced the same thing for asexuality or being a person of color, but I mentioned, like, having a disability is like the whole thing about being so inspiring.
Right.
It's like they make it, the whole thing has to be about being inspiring, and I'm like, why?
Inspiring to the non-disabled, to the and it's this whole ableism thing of, like, it's only inspiring to people who consider themselves able-bodied, or able-minded, or whatever. I don't know. I just, the whole, anyway.
People without disabilities of any kind.
Like, this is like, that's where they, and that is where they place the value of those who are differently bodied, or however different in any way, of their value, if because they automatically, all these this ableism idea is also, like, implying strongly that person's value, since it can't be placed on how productive they are, then it must be that they are a benefit to everyone else as inspiration or motivation. And again, that is still negative of, why do we have to have worth or value that has anything beyond just being us? Each person can bring a lot of beauty and perspective just by existing in the world, particularly, I believe, if we also have some ability to share our creative works with each other.
Right.
And I mean, like, not that that's the only way, or that I think that's somehow like a hierarchy and that's the most important, but I feel like the impression I've gotten is I'm not the only person that's like, this existence can get rather lonely. And when I am able to enjoy other people's art, other people's creative works, I definitely connect to it on a stronger level than just merely, hi, how are you? My name is Glory. What is yours? Oh, where are you from? That sort of shallow conversation of just getting acquainted. Versus when I can read their creative works, I can watch or listen or what have you, I can somehow experience their creative works. I feel like there's like a spiritual connection, or something better and deeper.
Yes.
And I think that while it is not, if somebody can't do it or doesn't do it, that doesn't mean that they're not worthwhile and valuable. It's just, it's such a nice contribution that I want everyone to have that. And, like, for instance, we have plenty of in our autism community who are nonverbal. Does that mean they do not have value? Hell no, they all have value. But I think it's especially lovely when they are able to share their creative works, because talk about a very different experience. Like, was it Yesterday, yes. I was looking through. Haley has a Discord group, and she's got a channel called the Screaming Pond, where everyone just literally screams.
We just that's
Yeah.
what we do.
Yeah, right? Yeah, doll knows. And all I was thinking of, like, because there I wanted to contribute, but in this moment I was having a selective mutism issue. And, like, for a moment, all I could think of was, like, well, maybe I could find the cover to, what's his name's book, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. And then I was like, GIF, go get a GIF, Glory. And so that's what I did. I posted a GIF of that is exactly how I felt, because I scanned through a whole bunch of them before I found one that was just right. But yeah, of like the experience of not being able to communicate when you desperately feel this need is so interesting and significant, that being able to find a way, like for those who are nonverbal, I think is so important, because how else, the whole joy of creative works is we can kind of step into someone else's shoes for a moment and experience their life or their perspective with them for a moment. And we gain that knowledge. Science has actually proven this with brain scans, that we do it. In fact, our brain scans adjust for a moment when we are experiencing someone else's creative works. Our brain scans actually adjust for a moment as if we are experiencing it a little differently as a different person. That has been scientifically proven. And that's why I think it is like so lovely and wonderful. And one of those beautiful things about humans. Maggie says, some are so proud that they are so woke because they recognize the different and point out how much they recognize them. And they don't realize that this is it's its own form of bias and targeting. Yes, I absolutely. You're so
And it's
right.
othering.
It is exactly.
The othering. Oh, CB says, I always say the way not to piss me off is to see me as a person before you see the oddity and treat me like the person that I am. Exactly. That shouldn't even be a question. It's like you're a person first. And, you know, whatever is not exactly expected it still doesn't change you as a person. You know, you're an entity.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I'm off. Let me know if I'm wrong. I really hope everyone on camera and in chat is like, Glory.
I've seen, like, I have some doubts sometimes because I am not a woke person. I'm not woke. I just have different experiences and that's it. I don't understand the whole woke culture. I honestly don't understand it, because I see from the outside, I see the extreme that some people are going into, and like the otherness of it, you know, like they have to distinguish everybody from everybody. Like, you are this race, you are that sexuality, you are that disability, you are this, you are that, and I recognize all the identities and I am so woke. And I'm like, stop it. People are
if you
people.
have to say it.
Yeah, people are people.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is I'm not gonna name names, and I'm not going to even name identities, so the person cannot be traced from me. There is a content creator here on AuthorTube. Recent. It's a very new one. It's recent. It's new. It's, you know, it's a white person, but the whole platform consists of, here's how to write whatever. Here's how not to write whatever. Like, the whole platform is about writing this or that way, like how not to, you should and you shouldn't, you mustn't, according to whatever views this person has. And they are portraying it as if they were woke, you know. It's like super woke. This is the most woke person on the whole AuthorTube community thing. It's very notorious. And I'm like, I'm saying they, it's not, to not reveal any gender, any nothing. So the person is lacking complete nuance on so many things that it completely misses the mark. And I see the intention. It might be in the right place, maybe, but I feel that it's more for the views and more for, like, look at how woke I am, instead of, you know, I don't find it genuine. And after a while I had to say, I'm done, and I no longer watch.
And also, like, I do find that virtue signaling to be sort of like passive aggressiveness is like nearly an automatic turnoff for me.
Yep.
Of like, why are you saying, like, that was one of the other things I was thinking about of like today to maybe talk about of a couple years ago, more specifically on Twitter, where I was much more active on my personal account for quite some time. People people that followed me and I followed them, or some of them had asked me like, why are you friends with me? And I was like, because you're funny and I agree with you on a bunch of stuff. And, you know, it turned out that they were trying to understand, like, because I wasn't virtue signaling, why would I possibly follow another, you know, someone who is of color? And why would I interact with them all the time unless when I'm not really virtue signaling on my own account? And I mean, like, I don't know about other autistic people or other people in general, but I find virtue signaling to be very uncomfortable of like, behold, don't I look so great? Like, I joke with Tom about, I have put up with you today and you have been like really running on this. I deserve a tiny trophy, you know, but it's just something I say to him privately. I'm trying to really kind of be funny while also saying like, today has been a little tough. You've been extra Tom today.
That Sting quote. Yes, we share the same biology, regardless of ideology. Oh my God, that song. Oof.
Still a good song.
I
I've
feel
loved
like
it
it says
decades.
a lot that we've made an environment where Doll's like, I am ready to sing my way through this whole show. And I'm like, yeah, you go for it, babe.
I love it. I mean, but that song, that you know, Sting got the balls to sing that in Russia. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And what Russian people approve.
But I mean, like, maybe like and I really like did a lot of existential introspection about, well, maybe there is a problem with my Twitter feed that I'm not talking enough about, because I was mostly just retweeting other really great tweets from like they're in town here is the African American Military History Museum and the African American USO, which is like the coolest museum, y'all. Like, you can literally go sit in a Jeep. And you can also go stand by the only female buffalo soldier, because there's a huge plexiglass horse. And there she is. And you can stand next to both of them. It's really cool. Okay. Like, I like more interactive museum exhibits, and it's really awesome. And I think it's awesome. And then there's a separate section where a lot of people, when they retired, have donated at least one version of their uniforms, various, you know, BDUs and formal military dress. And one of them was from NASA, which was awesome. And I mean, not necessarily that I could wear them. I certainly did hold them up and had Tom take pictures of me, though. And I think that's so cool because it's actually meant for children. But did that stop me? No, it did not. And I asked if I was allowed to hold these up, and if there were any that fit, could I like get in it? And they were like, yeah, if you can find anything that fits, put it on. And that was so awesome. They were so cool about it. But like, I was retweeting, you know, various groups. There's like some great Smithsonian departments that also have fantastic, you know, history stuff, and retweeting. But I'm like, isn't this like good? Like, what am I supposed to add as a non, you know, like, look, y'all, you know, I have a weird relationship with white because I'm Jewish. And it's like, fun fact. My Eastern European ancestors in America have only been white since like the 60s. My mom literally graduated high school before she became white. So,
Eastern Europe? Where?
In America, Jews of like, there's still Jews, you know, from all other parts of the world, but like Jews in America from Eastern Europe, you know, Ashkenazis, were not considered white in America until the 60s and 70s. And so my mother, growing up in Detroit, Michigan, did not consider, hope Laura's okay. Laura says there's a fire alarm. She'll be back later. I'm hoping everything's just an alarm. But so my mom graduated in the early 60s out of high school, and she graduated high school before she was culturally, you know, considered white. And even before like census and other stuff considered her white for reals. Okay. So she carried that, and we grew up in Mississippi in the 80s as children, where we were still not considered white because we were Jewish.
Wow.
So we were in this like gray area with
This is what this is what confuses me, because is it about the skin tone or is it about the culture? What are you guys talking about anymore? It's like my eyes are confused.
Oh, I agree. Well, like Irish people in America have only been white since what, the 20s?
Yeah, same
Right.
thing. There's nothing whiter than an Irish.
I mean, seriously, talk about pale. And I say that as somebody whose grandmother was like from Northern Ireland.
So racism. I mean, look. Never forget, racism.
Makes sense, okay?
Racism is literally 400 years old. Okay, racism literally didn't exist more than 450 years ago.
I think he's at least talking to the English-speaking world.
It was made in Spain, Glory.
Okay.
In the European world.
Mm.
But
Okay.
this concept of race, the way we see it now in the Western world, was literally made so that they could have slaves.
Thank you, Maggie. Maggie's like Scottish and Irish were also considered a lower caste of white.
Yeah.
Right. These are the stuff.
I know, doll. Isn't it insane?
I don't understand, because first of all, again, I'm visually impaired. I don't.
Sure.
I do distinguish between a very white person and a black person. I can see that. I can
honestly,
see that.
Doll, you are paler color than our mother. Yeah. So, like, what? Yeah. It's like, what is this whole thing with color? It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Like I said, I am mixed race. So but in Europe I was full Latina, according to depending on how people see me. So for them I was too brown. I was so brown. I was like, wow, am I really? I'm kind of yellow. I don't know. I didn't know I was black. Apparently I am now. But then I have lived in countries where brown and black were actually a majority, and then here I am with my color, and then it's like, hey, you're too white to be from here. Like, where are you from? Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I've had it on both ends. It's like, you're too white, you're too brown, you're too this, you're too that. And I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, there's nowhere to run anymore. It's like, it has come to the point where I no longer give a I no longer care. Because some people say I'm brown, some people say I'm white, some people say I'm yellow, some people say I'm this, some people I cannot see very well, therefore I no longer know. It's
versus like Dad used to say to me, he's like you bring out all the racist and white supremacist square, because like, you think I'm pale now? I was paler as a child. Mm-hmm. I mean, I look like a ghost. I look like a shadow. People would ask, does she have albinoism, and they took me to doctors and was like, no, but she does have clumsy child syndrome. But
doll, I was raised with parents who really made it point not to, give us any ideas about racism. I grew up my entire life not realizing that there were signifiers in cartoons that denoted people being non-white.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even notice that. Like, I was like, wait, what? That person's like, everyone else knew this person. I want to point out
that some of this has to do, may have had to do with autism, because autistic children do not mentor easily. Mm-hmm. So remember these little zebra finches they don't learn from their mentors the song quickly, within 3 days. It takes them literally 6 weeks. Little zebra finches given autism brains. It takes them 6 weeks to learn their mentor song versus 3 weeks for neurotypical zebra finch brains to learn their mentor song. And that's how zebra finches learn the songs to attract the lady zebra finches. Yes, I'm happy to send you the article if you are interested.
That's very interesting.
It's it is, but that I feel like it really illustrates one difference of autism, the autism brain, of where that communication disorder can pop up. So where other people might only once hear somebody go, "Oh, that cartoon character, that's black. That that Autobot is black," or something. We would be like, "No, it's blue. It's literally blue, maybe a little black trim," and absolutely miss it, and then never think of it again.
Right.
Versus maybe a neurotypical child would pick up on there's a nuance to this. They're not talking about their painted enamel color scheme. They're talking about some sort of cultural, racial, or ethnic reference. And so we just were very naive.
That is where blindness overlaps, because since I cannot see that, I am like, wait, what do you mean? It's like it's a bot. No, yeah, but the bot is black because blah blah. And I'm like, what? But like, yeah, same thing because I cannot see it. So
Yeah.
it
Okay, all right.
doesn't really matter anymore.
For the reference Glory's specifically going for, there is a robot in the Autobots who's called Jazz,
Okay.
and that
So
signifier
racist.
alone. The name alone is supposed to signify that Autobot's black.
Because
which is why
it's
they also-
jazz.
Jazz.
Yes,
No.
as in jazz music.
As in black improvisational music. Like
Okay.
yeah. And I think that at least at one point it was voiced by an African American voice actor. At least like I vaguely have a childhood memory of this. So
But yeah, like everyone else, and I'm just like, it's a robot.
it's a robot. They don't have skin tones and ethnic groups beyond Autobot.
Exactly. I mean, this confuses me so much that I have come to the point that I prefer not to talk about it anymore. Because like everything I try to say might be wrong.
Yeah.
And people
Don't
might,
worry.
people
We
might
are
take it
among-
like,
I think, well, first off, we're among friends.
yes.
And everyone understands we're just trying to figure it out.
Right.
And we're essentially trying to have a conversation. Nobody is like giving like a formative lecture. On
Right.
Like this is more like a zeitgeist conversation. And that's why I said, oh, we're doing this again next year. We will be revisiting this for a variety of reasons.
It is very interesting at all, but I find it super, super interesting. That what I don't understand is like, why is it so important? Like, why if the people make it, people make it as
Because of
if
the great othering, because you need to know
exactly.
who to invest in financially, socially, what have you, and who not to invest in, because those people are not part of yours. And like, there's an implication of loyalty, which frankly, I am sorry, white people. I'm about to say, I've never found that white people were very loyal, even to other white people from examples I've seen. Like, that's the reason I got into contract law, quite frankly. So it's a wild ride, and it doesn't make any sense. But a lot of human sociology, makes no sense to me from a logical perspective.
Exactly. I'm trying to understand the whole thing, and I'm like,
First off, let's accept that there is no logic to any of the things we are talking
there
about.
isn't. It's just to make people feel emotionally better. But I did want to real quick read this for a reason from Maggie. I've spent my life since college arguing that First Nations cultures were as developed as the European ancient cultures, but because we didn't leave stone roads / written language, we were primitives.
Shall we talk about my favorite cultural?
In a moment.
They were larger. There were more people in North America, 20 years before
the
very first Europeans made it. Well, not the first, because are we going to count, the Vikings? So before the first European colonists made it to America in the 1500s with Roanoke, and 20 years before that, there was or at least 40 years before that, there was a larger human population in North America than there was in Europe. What happened, as far as we can figure, was there was a terrible plague that just wiped out literally millions upon millions of people here in North America, specifically in the greater St. Louis area, where they had a, city that was, I think, larger than the 3 states that St. Louis, is near. It was an enormous industrial complex, metropolitan complex that literally stretched for dozens of miles in every direction, maybe larger now that I think about it. And they were the mound people, and they actually made mounds all the way down to Mississippi, which is how I originally got interested in research about the mound people, which we know very little. And in fact, what we do have is from the Choctaws, who did survive, because they made up some really interesting folklore and mythology based on the mounds that were left behind. So to say that First Nation people in North America in particular were primitive by Europeans, no, ma'am. I mean, not that Maggie said
not at all.
Right? Yeah. But like that other people are thinking is absolutely like galling, because if anything, how they had to have a sewer system to handle literally dozens of millions of people in the greater St. Louis metro area. And when I say metro, I mean the size of several states.
Mhm.
They had a sewer system to handle this, and it was ecologically sound, by the way.
I mean, like
And it's fascinating stuff.
North America, and then like if we look down, like if we look to the southern hemisphere, the Inca Empire. It was an empire, for goodness sake. The Incas were like
No, I'm thinking of the Mayans that had electricity in their
right. The Mayans too. I know more about the Incas though because of the astronomy implications.
Yeah.
Like that idea of like, oh, these people are primitive. I'm like, oh no.
Okay.
No,
So that's actually what I wanted to get at real quick.
Okay.
Something that is discussed among the real historians, and the ones who actually study the Mayans and the Incas and everyone else, that's not discussed ever in schools is, so why don't we have records? It's not actually that they didn't write the records. They did write the records.
They
Are you
did
talking
write
about,
it.
like, the Blackfoots and their beautiful historical record? There's one family of the Blackfoots historians that have a yearly record. I think that dates back to the mid 1600s so far that we've been able to figure out.
But Europeans, part of their colonization everywhere in the world
Their propaganda
was literally to go and destroy all records from whatever the local culture was.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't have them for Africa. We don't have them.
But
for
they
South
did
America.
exist at one point.
There's a whole lot of records where kind of we actually have some more of Mayans recently because a few of the very first Catholic what are they called? Brothers?
Priests? Monks.
Actually wrote down copied the manuscripts of the Mayans into their own records, and so we're now working on deciphering that with what do you call it? Verbal teaching
Oral
down the generation.
oral
Traditions. But no, there were records all around the world. It's just Europeans' first job is to make sure there's no trace of the previous culture.
I mean, that's where
so that
the
there's superior culture
of colonizing first shows its ugly head. Is you must destroy the footprint of the culture you are claiming, or that you are.
We still don't understand. We still don't understand completely. Like, how is it possible, for example, to do the Nazca lines in Peru? We still don't know how the hell that happened. And there was a method. People like to say, "Oh, the UFOs did it." No. No. Don't make it a conspiracy theory. There was a method. They had their sophisticated technology. They had their records. They had their everything. It simply vanished because
that's
persecution.
Part of why. That's why the joke in America that you'll sometimes see and hear memes about is we have a cable channel called the History Channel.
Yes,
and it's now called the Hitler Channel.
Oh,
that's what my in-laws called it because they love to watch it.
Because all the show is stuff from World War II, but also they're the ones who came up with Ancient Aliens. Because again, that's actually a form of racism, saying no other humans couldn't have done it that far back because Western Europeans.
No. It's not humans. Brown people.
Yeah.
Right.
Brown people.
Because when you look
white
at
people couldn't have figured it out back then.
Yeah, no, because when you look back at ancient Europe, the Celts, the Slavs, the Vikings, the Romans, all of the ancient European cultures, there you see all the sophistication they had back in the time and blah 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 blah. But then you look at the other rest of the world, it's like, oh, aliens, they did it.
Yeah, anytime people want to say it's aliens versus it's humans, okay, an individual human, sure, doesn't seem super smart, I mean, I can't invent a smartphone on my own, but you get a lot of humans collectively working together. And yes, we can pop out a vaccine in a year. Of together as a group, as a species, that is our genius. Is together we can accomplish amazing things. But individually, it's like, have you met individual humans?
And by all this, I'm not denying that maybe there are exoplanetary culture. I'm not denying. I mean, I write science fiction. I don't deny that.
Oh, yes, I write science fiction too, and I too believe that there is, in fact, intelligent life somewhere out there.
Somewhere out there.
But I don't think it's come here. I think that's just what humans are capable of, especially when, we all are standing on the shoulders of giants.
Right.
We all are building up.
There's two groups of videos. One YouTube that's more recent. I don't remember if they are Malaysian or Filipino or what, showing like how you can rebuild your own society with mud and bamboo.
Yeah, I remember that was a lot of fun.
And you can make, entire cities with just simple hand tools.
Right.
But even before that, I loved, there was this back in the mid to late 2000s, there was, I think he was a contractor in the US. And he literally showed how 1 to 2 people could make the what's it called in England, the circle, Stonehenge with just 2 people. It's not as human intensive powered and all this that people think.
No, you just need to know geometry and
and leverage. And it's
like, why, yes. Have you?
Oh, you mean you mean Stonehenge, or you mean the cult, the wheat circles? Which one do you mean?
No. I'm talking about Stonehenge.
He's talking
about
cool. How do you get the stones lifted up? How do you get them on each other? And he's literally doing it with just him and occasionally one other guy.
Mm-hmm.
These giant stones, and he's showing it's not that complex. It just takes a little bit of leverage tricks, and once you know them.
Guy, in Key West, who made his own version, and he did the whole thing by himself. The elderly man. I think he has now passed away. In fact, I think his little stone pavilion, whatever it is, it's this lovely sprawling piece of land. It is also known as like the largest extra-toed cat colony in America or something. But anyhow, it's cats, so I do remember this. But he was showing, there are videos of him showing back, I think in the 90s, of how he did all of these enormous stone structures by himself. And he is showing how, no, it just pivots. You just watch. I could do it with like one finger. And it's this old guy, and he's just showing it how, and he's like, this was his point of why he thought how like Stonehenge and, essentially these stone builders back in the, one of the lithics. One of the lithic periods. Neolithic? Yeah. It's like, it's not paleo. But people wouldn't listen to him for decades. So he finally, found some cheap property in Key West literally decades ago and started trying to put this together to prove his point, because they wouldn't even publish his journal articles on how with geometry, 1 or 2 people alone can do this. So he actually made it, and you can actually go visit it. Obviously it's a pandemic, but that's what the internet's for. Mm-hmm. But anytime people are like, "Oh, it must be aliens. Humans couldn't have done it," it's like, no, that must be racism.
Yeah.
Again, of like, no, that's not allyship. So I thought we would probably kind of maybe segue. I'm sorry, y'all. We don't have a segue for this. But segue into talking.
I'm still working on the videos, okay?
No, it's okay, Tom. I wasn't trying to sorry, that joke didn't land. But, Moon Castle, thank you, Maggie. But about friendship, because we also want to talk about it's something essentially I am still grappling with, of there are people I think are my friends, and then later it turns out, oh no, that's not how friends act. Y'all. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know I've mentioned it before, but again, I just want to point out. Autobiography in 5 chapters, the poem. Why, yes, I am. Once again, chapter 3. I'm in the hole. It's my fault. I'll get out. But it can be very difficult for autistic people to make good friendships, keep good friendships for a variety of reasons, and it's the least of which are necessarily the communication disorder part. But certainly the communication disorder part does make it more difficult. Someone else essentially has to really want to be your friend. Well, who would really want to be your friend? Why, yes, I have attracted a bunch of psychopaths again. All right.
Although, real quick, for once, this is not a sign of being autistic. I was surprised to learn, thanks to recent research. They've done research. All humans. It's not a autistic thing. really should end conversations about halfway through their conversation. Like everyone wants it to end about much quicker than they think they should. Not realizing when they should end a conversation is just a human trait. We all talk too much.
Right.
So my idea is end it while they still want to talk to you. If you can. If you can, end it while they still want to talk to you. Leave them wanting more.
What my experience, I don't, and the thing with me is that I no longer know which of my identities is causing the problem, because I have so much overlap that I don't know like what part of it to blame. And
I feel like I attract a lot of people on the dark triad somehow.
Yeah, well, that's because you're an empathic person.
Is that it? Because I've seriously been doing a lot of existential soul searching this week, and like it hasn't been. Sorry, Tom.
They are attracted.
A little trophy this time.
They are attracted temporarily to all the things that they do not have the capacity for. It is exotic. It kind of opens their curiosity.
Sort of like a cat to a flame. Like they keep on.
It's like empathic person.
Of like
what does it do? What if I push it? Is that kind of is that kind of curiosity. It's temporary. It's not permanent. But they make you feel. Like all of a sudden you two have so much in common. It's like it's bullshit. It's bullshit. I have come to the conclusion where I've come to the conclusion where if someone comes to you, I'm gonna talk about it from men and women, like a guy and a girl perspective here. Especially me being asexual, and here's where I blame that part of my identity. Is like when a guy comes to me and all of a sudden he wants me to he kind of like makes me believe that, oh my god, I finally found someone that is like family.
Yes.
In the sense that, oh wow, we have so much in common, we have such a great understanding, we blah 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 blah.
Yes.
And it to the point where I am not a romantic, but I am demi-romantic, and I start to kind of like, wow, so wait, I care about this, but whoa, and I get to that point of confusion. When I start to feel that point of confusion, I also start to back down a little bit, because I have come to the conclusion that it's a trick. It's a trick. They are. I don't want to say the groom word, but like it is kind of like it's temporary. It's not. They don't really mean it. As soon as they find someone straight that shows interest, someone more compatible with their other needs that you cannot satisfy, as soon as they find someone that can satisfy them fully, you are out. And they will find whatever excuse they can find, oh, my dog is feeling bad today, I have to take them to the vet, whatever. Literally, the dog becomes an excuse for them to not talk to you and like politely decline any interactions, and then they apologize for declining all the interactions, and it becomes like a circle of keeping you around just you on
the string there.
Just in case the priority person fails or something, they want to keep you around because you become the time filler between priority people. And I'm like, no, the key here is self-respect. Self-respect. You have to be strong. When a person who made you believe that you were friends, that you were close, that you were, suddenly becomes this completely new person where you basically, oh, my dog is sick, my sister is sick, my mother is sick, my whatever is sick, everyone is sick because pandemic is happening. Ooh, excuse. You have to walk away.
It's just, it's so hard to tell what are lies and what is truth, because like, for instance, me with ADHD, believe me, my life can get very chaotic very quickly. The more overwhelmed I get, the more chaotic everything ends up, because like I can't keep all the plates spinning at once.
Oh yeah.
I can't even keep most of the plates spinning on a good day, let alone when it's, not going well for a day, a week, whatever, then yeah, a lot of things crash. And so I feel like, well, I would want people to give me the benefit of the doubt when it's like, oh yeah, everything is falling apart and I'm just overwhelmed and I cannot come see you or whatever. So I feel like obligated to give other people the benefit of the doubt. And I mean, and rightly so, of course, isn't that how friendship works? So how to tell when people are using it as just excuses versus they too are dealing with chaos?
So that brings up about oxytocin.
Okay.
And as therapists like to remind us about the playing, what was that game with the bouncy ball? Was it Foursquare?
I mean, I've never actually played real Foursquare. I've heard about it. Yeah.
But it's, you're bouncing the ball back to each other and, you get out if you aren't able to catch it.
Okay.
But one of the things, like oxytocin is necessary for, and that, autistic minds are definitely known for not having enough oxytocin.
That's true.
Is recognizing other people's behavior. So are they bouncing the ball back to you? If you are playing with them, do they play with you? Or are you always being the one who has to initiate all actions?
Right. Are you? Is it always you, the one who wants to reach out?
Yeah.
Right. And
that's that's one big key differences.
Some people are very smart about this. I have to beware. Some people are very smart about it, and they will reach out to you like it's called breadcrumbing.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about.
Pay attention to that. They will give you the bare minimum. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and and that's literally someone I've met recently. It was why am I the one always having to contact them of hey, do you want to have a Zoom thing or you want to chat? And they keep putting me off, and then later
they probably have someone better to do things with.
Yeah, and I was at a certain point a couple weeks ago, it's I know that everybody says friendship takes work, and I am certainly not afraid of work or I love working. I love being productive when I can be. But it's I am now at the age, I guess, experience-wise, let's say that. I'm at the experience point where it's I know that when friendship goes well, it doesn't take quite this much work.
Right.
Quite this much where me, the person with ADHD, has to constantly remember each week to check in with them because they're never checking in with me. And it's they say they want to be my friend. They say they look forward to chatting with me. They love it. But then I don't see them doing anything, reaching out to me. And I'm what is this nonsense? Maggie says it's the mirror mask. The wearer reflects what the person loves and is passionate about, positive or negative. And they use that reflection to keep the person on a rope to feed for the attention. I did not actually know that's what mirror mask was. She says this happened in the autism community often because they claim to be on the spectrum when really they just want people to give them allowances for behavior and support, emotional, mental, financial. That's why I'm there's a bunch of people who are oh, I'm autistic. No, you're an asshole.
No, you're not.
You can be autistic and an asshole, but please do not call your what you're doing assholery. Autism. No. Autistic people are not automatically assholes.
Oof. I was interacting with someone who was I am getting the diagnosed to see if I am autistic. Kind of
at least neurodivergent for sure.
Yeah. They were getting the diagnosed or whatever. And I was okay, cool. I mean, I have autistic friends already. This shouldn't be, I never thought anything about it. It's okay. A person who is probably getting a diagnosis. Oh, that's it. But that the person was very low key doing things that some commentary that I understood as a form of very quiet bullying. And I confronted the person and I said, I mean, I'm just gonna lay the cards on the table. You do you. I mean, this is how I am feeling.
Right.
And we will see. I mean, I prefer to have a dialogue with you, because my brain is over here wondering why the crap would you do that? Why? So I'm just expressing what's happening, and we quote unquote solved it. and that person never talked to me again. I was like, oh, I see you.
Wow.
It's like the person understood that they have been caught. And I was like, yeah, so much for your diagnosis on autism and whatever. Yeah, okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, and it's not pretty. And you give the rest of the community a very bad image. If that's the,
Yes.
and I'm like, no, because I know that's bullshit. Because I have other friends that are actually autistic, and I'm like, no. But imagine if I didn't. What would my impression of someone with autism would be? You know?
Oh yes, absolutely. And that's what like concerns me so much. And one of the reasons why we wanted to do this show, like back in August, why, you know, in July I pitched this show idea to Tom and was like, will you at least do like 3 episodes with me? And that's originally how this show started, was a 3-episode stint. Because it was just like, please do not think all autistic people are jerks, because I swear we are not all trying to be so heinous.
Right.
And it's really upsetting that there are a few people, white males, who have written memoirs at getting like late diagnosis of autism and going, oh, this explains it. I'm like, no, like I've read the whole memoir, several of them, and like, no, you're just an asshole. There is a difference. Why do you not understand this? Like, my autism does not make me a jerk. I mean, it can. My ADHD can make it where I miss cues and where sometimes I just say things before it's gone through all the filters to say, is that really the most considerate way you could say it? But it's like, please call me on it, because believe me, in my heart, I do not mean to hurt anyone's feelings.
Same.
Ever.
No, I mean, I am neurotypical, and I make mistakes too, and people can call me out, and I appreciate it so much. It's like, thank you. I take it, like when we were discussing, when people were when you guys were giving me feedback, for example, about the book and something that is not right or something that can be improved upon, and I'm like, I'll take it, thank you.
Right.
And same goes for my persona. Like when I was saying the term half breed, and that in the States is and I'm like, oh crap, okay, mixed race. You see,
how would you know? You didn't grow up in the States. You wouldn't have no clue.
I take it. I'll take it, because I mean, I am here learning, you know. I never take it as an offense. Now, when I see a low-key under the table kind of offense, like what this person was doing, I go and I talk and I have a dialogue like, hey, look, this is the situation. I saw when you did this and this and that, and you did this and this and that, and I specified the whole thing, and I gave my reasoning for the feeling that I'm having is timing. It was precisely timing, and of between the two things that you said in such a short time span. I'm like, why would you even do that? Like, yeah, like don't say you're an ally and then throw another kind of thing against another of my identities, because I have so many. It's like, yeah, it could be unintentional, but this is why I am talking to you. This is why I'm letting you know what happened. Because my brain is like, well, why would they do that? That makes no sense. So here I am trying to open a dialogue and like try to solve the situation. That's all. And supposedly we solved it, but never again we spoke. And I was like, I think it's just time for me to separate this person from my social media, block. But it took a few months, you know. I gave them 2 months of we will see. And we will see nothing, because nothing happened. I was like, no, this person was caught. I caught you, actually. So okay. And it's very difficult, because I don't think this person was a friend. It was like an ally kind of thing. It was people who you meet on social media, networking, communities, kind of blah blah blah, blah. That right. Kind of, it was that kind of, I mean, but it still bothers, because it makes you, at least it happens to me, it makes me feel like, who else is going to do this now? You know, who's next? You know, it creates, I wouldn't say an anxiety, because I have learned to not give it too much fuel. But it is in the back of my mind that I'm over here like, okay, who's next? Who else is going to do this?
And I guess, like, for me, I do have this, like, kind of, what is it, like, reticence or shyness about calling people out. Mostly because I guess I have been told so much growing up, and even in my 20s, of Glory, you're just really high maintenance. You need to give
Oh
people
my God.
space. You need to just give them, just not be so intense. And so I feel almost apologetic to people sometimes about, especially new friendships, where it's like, is it me? Am I? Because, like, oh, sure, I could definitely misinterpret things for sure.
For sure.
But before it disappears too much, I did want to ask Violet. Since someone called you out, and it sounds like they were effective in, bringing up in conversation of like, hey, this friendship seems kind of one-sided. I would love to know how they did it. Like, frankly, as much wording as you could actually remember. And if you don't feel comfortable saying it here, if you do feel comfortable telling me, I would love to know, like, you can message me on any of my social media platforms, because I would actually like to know how to better communicate, like, with one person in particular, for instance, of like, how do I say to this person, why is it I feel like you keep going, oh yeah, but then you never follow up, and it's me always contacting you, and then when I give you a couple weeks, I don't hear from you. Like, how do I say that I don't want to be confrontational, but like, y'all, our parents, mine and Tom's, not what I would call socially gifted people. And like, okay, when we talk about the negative side of the Jewish mother stereotype, I would like to introduce you to my mother. Unfortunately, she passed away a decade ago, but holy cow, like, Beverly Goldberg looks like a shining, beautiful, soft-sided example, but not like anything like my mother. Like, my mother was very harsh, very hypercritical, and I don't want to be confrontational, but how do you say in a like way that people don't feel attacked? Because, like, yeah, again, with my communication problems, I'm already not necessarily communicating.
I wouldn't say that my thing is a communication problem. It's a Finnish problem, because Finnish are like, you are doing this and I want to know why. It's not very
yeah, like, I want to say that, but like, yeah, that doesn't necessarily like fly with like Southern American people. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, should I message the person? Are you avoiding me? Like, I don't know.
No, I don't even say it. I have learned, because I tried. This is another situation I had with a friend. I tried to, since I saw it coming before it actually happened, and then it happened. But I saw it coming because because it was obvious. Like, who wouldn't? And I wanted to, like, come to a mutual, like, okay, I think this is the end of the whatever this was, the friendship. Right. And I was being, again, my Finnish side of the heritage. I was like, I guess this is it. I mean, I think it's time for me to just walk out of this whole thing. And I was being, oh my God, the tantrum, the drama, oh God.
I know, it's like you're talking about my ex-husband right now. It's like, oh yes, I've been here with my ex-husband. I know everything you were talking about. Like, oh
yeah, you're like, I think it's time for a divorce, and it's like, no way, where are you going? You're not going anywhere. Blah, 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 that kind of thing. Yeah, kind of like that. But
and he would be pretty good behavior-wise for 2 to 4 months, and then back to the same old.
Right. And I learned.
I was in that relationship for 13 years. I was married for 11 of those. The judge declared it time served, and I was like, "Don't ever contact me or my family again." Like,
seriously, no. That I have learned that when this kind of thing happens, this was difficult, because like the Finns, like I said, you are doing this and I want to know why, or like, you are doing this, I'm not happy, I'm walking out. Like, they tell you, it's like. Finns are very straightforward,
and also like for me, I feel like, again, it's back to that, like, well, the like sort of that benefit of the doubt, and also like for me, sometimes I need more downtime.
Yes,
and I kind of disappear for days, frankly, sometimes weeks on end. Not like a ton of weeks, but like, let's say 1 to 3 weeks. And I need that time to, deal with myself. Maybe I'm also essentially doing a whole bunch of research, and I just don't have enough mental capacity to also deal with the very complicated situation that is dealing with any other human being. Like, it is exhausting for me in a good way. Obviously, I am still here and I look forward to every one of our shows, no matter how much I bitch and moan before the show to everyone. I still look forward to it. I still enjoy being here. I love it. But, like, the social interaction of, is there nuance to what they are saying? If I ask, how are you? You seem distant lately. And they're like, no, I'm fine. It's just been allergy season. I'm like, what does that freaking mean?
Right.
Because
no, with me, you're not gonna get any of that. So please don't worry. When I'm in the show, I'm telling you things as they are.
First, I have said to people like, they're like, I haven't seen you, lately, and you've like took a day to respond to me on text or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's been pollen season. Like when I say that, you have no idea what the pollen is like here. Everyone's cars are yellow. Tom washed his car last week, and literally within 4 hours, it was already getting a yellow hue, like that much pollen in the air all the time. So, like, it's one of these of like, I feel like people can make all these excuses, and I'm like, how can I not accept all these excuses and reasons when I literally experience these kind of things? But on my side, it is genuine of like, look, y'all, I'm just trying to survive. You'll know it if I don't like you. I'll tell you. I'll be like, no, I'm busy. But not, and I won't like follow it up with, but like, can we do it this time when I can do it, And like, there are like, when I want to spend time with people, I will do everything I can to like pull myself together, even set alarms to like meet them on days when normally I would sleep in and like get some regenerative time. But yeah, there are times where I just sort of fall apart, truthfully. Like I just, couldn't make a train on time if my life depended on it. There's just times like that. Right. And for I think for a lot of people, it's like rare. It's like maybe every couple of years, their life sort of tangles up for a week like that. And I'm like, welcome to like every season. There's at least 1 week out of every 3 months minimum, if not 1 week out of every month, where my life is just a tangled mess. And it's all I can do to like, again, show up here on Mondays and do this. And so I have to sacrifice a lot of other things in order to always be here and do what I need to do to get myself in that headspace so that I can really enjoy being here, because this is such a lovely, wonderful community time.
This is why last week I had to say I stay in the chat box, because like I was not going to come up here to be the party pooper. I was feeling, I was in pain. I was moaning. I was like, I'm in pain again. Oh no, more crap. And I was even crying at some point. I was like, I cannot join the stream like this. I'm gonna be complaining every 5 minutes. So that's why I said, I'm in the chat.
Right. And I absolutely understand that. I also want you to understand, just for the record, just because while we're here at this conversation, you don't ever have to be on your best to be here. Y'all know, who've longtime watchers have known that I have cried through some episodes of this show where I just keep doing this.
It is kind of like a cultural thing.
So I just want you to understand, like, I understand if you're not comfortable with that, but I want you to know, we're here for you.
Right. No, but it is a bit of a
hang out and be on camera, as an avatar and hang out. I am very much comfortable with that, because again, it's like, come as you are, be who you are. Even if you feel like I don't have anything to contribute, but I also don't want to type in the chat. Like, come on in avatar mode and hang out with us.
Yeah, we've got the Plus account right now, so we can put 10 people on here.
Right.
No, I think why I do this is like I'm the kind of person who is like, if I'm gonna jump on a stream, I want to give you my best. It is I do that with you, and I do whoever invites me. It is, to me, it's like a big thing. I have been abandoned so many times that it's like it's a big deal when people even consider me. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I'm going to try it. Now, if I don't have the spoons, I will have to say no, which annoys the crap out of me. And I even let the person know, like, I'm so sorry that I have to say no. But like, I have 7 streams. This was for the Worldwide Write-a-thon. I had a lot of streams, and not only for the write-a-thon, but like for the rest of the week, I had my own stream. I had other streams, and then this person invited me very last minute on Friday, and I was like, dude, I'm so annoyed to say no, because it annoys me. I hate it because people are considering me like to co-host, and that for me, that's it is a big deal to me. It is like, this person thought of me, and I hate to say no. not because I'm afraid of the person thinking I'm a diva. No, because I'm not, and everybody knows I'm not. But it's the fact that they had the courage to invite me, and I had to decline. It bothers me. It really does. But this is why when I join, I want to give you my all, and of course I have to recharge, and the tax comes later. But
Yes, exactly.
but I it is kind of like a moral. I wouldn't say moral, but like an ethics thing that I have. I don't
Yeah,
know how-
no, I can see that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so that's one of the things I love it when people invite me to something. So when I'm in, I want to give you my best. I want to be funny. I want to contribute. I want to that. Sometimes I overdo it sometimes, but I'm sorry. But it is with the best of intentions. I just want to be a great co-host. So even if you
Yeah.
don't really see my face and all the faces I do and all the excitement, I put all the excitement in my voice. So at least you can get that aspect of me.
Doll
Yeah.
Maggie, by the way, says, Doll, you overbooked yourself for the Worldwide Write-a-thon. You sounded concerningly tired by the end.
I was. I overbooked, and no, by Stephanie's. Steph had a stream, and I missed it because I I didn't wake up.
Yeah.
I didn't make it. I made it into the chat, and I was like, at least I'm in the chat. I'm here. So it's like I tried.
And I did, and like Maggie, like I'm like, is there anything we can do to help Maggie with her internet? Of like, how can we make this internet better? We have so much knowledge. We've done so much research because rural Mississippi is also not much in the way of connectivity. So I'm like, because like, yes, I want Maggie on all the time if she wants to come on.
Oh yes,
And also I want to see all her puppies as they grow.
all the puppers and no, but Maggie, you're great. I mean, the fact
Maggie
that,
wonderful. She's such a treasure.
dude, Maggie, I need to talk to you about
Yes.
like NASA school. Oh my
Yes.
god. Dude,
Maggie is just yes, she's so wonderful.
But hearing Doll talk did remind me of two things that I want to bring up. One is all right, so what does actual friendship look like?
Okay.
And right now in meme culture, the one that seems to be going around with our age group that people are using is Winnie the Pooh. Specifically the interactions between Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, and Eeyore.
Mm-hmm.
That is what friendship looks like. Of where it's, where they invite Eeyore and they know Eeyore is depressed.
Eeyore was always my favorite character, by the way. I have so many
Eeyore is
shirts.
low mood.
I have tons of Eeyore shirts in my closet. Y'all, I love Eeyore. Please feel free to send me any Eeyore, anything, including digital stuff, by the way.
But since Eeyore is their friend, they still want Eeyore to show up, even though, yes, they know Eeyore is not going to be a bright, shining person. They still enjoy the parties better and their adventures more when Eeyore can be with them. And that's what a friend looks like. They know you're not always going to be on your best. And they know you're not always going to be able to show up, but if you can be there, if it's not going to be too, troublesome for you, then please, at least show up, and say, hey, we just like seeing you here. Just like we love seeing, all our regulars here on the show. It's just fun to see you. But that's how people right now are expressing, like, what does friendship look like? What should it look like? There's not expectations. Eeyore is never expected to be the life of the party or to be the MC or any like. Eeyore is expected to be themselves.
Right.
If they're invited, they're expected to be themselves. Pooh is expected to be themselves.
Yes.
That's what a friendship should look like. And the other thing I wanted to mention, aside from Winnie the Pooh and that friendship thing, is at least in our family, we had this line for us to learn things. And I'm not sure if it's an autistic thing or what, but in our family, we communicate easily understood phrases as the phrase that pays. Yes. Is what we're always looking for.
Which is why Writing Violet sent, a little whole thing about the friend and actually about the communication. And I literally copy and pasted it to my little Telegram thing. So I could study it later. So thank you, darling.
That's what we're always looking for because of the communication problems of what's the phrase that everyone gets and is not easily misunderstood.
Mhm.
Unless you're trying to be passive aggressive, you don't want to show up as being passive aggressive in your question.
Mhm.
You
And
don't want
yet,
people to misinterpret.
like, so much of like how mom used to phrase stuff was so passive aggressive, and I would like phrase it like her because, you know, like sometimes the only way to get through life when you're autistic is to mimic. And I like had such a negative reputation for so long. I still like tweaking all those passive aggressive phrases.
What I do with that, for example, in the texting aspect, when I say something that could come off as sarcasm, I literally, after I finish the sentence, I say no sarcasm and I mean it genuinely.
Right.
Or when I am being sarcastic, then I put in parentheses, I add sarcasm. So it's like I
Yeah.
make it clear that I am I'm being snarky,
One
or
of the things I use a lot in my text communications are the little emojis, whether they're actual emojis or just the little 2-letter symbols,
Mhm.
like colon and right parentheses for smile,
Mhm.
as a way to give a visual signal to how this sentence should sound in someone's head.
Yes.
Because I have such a problem with it of how are they meaning it and how will they interpret me saying it, which is why it's like there's a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk to Maggie about with her stories, but it's like it would take me I'd have to type up so much so I won't be misunderstood because I'm so used to being misunderstood.
Right.
That it just sort of like almost silenced me, where you get that sort of selective mutism.
Tom, don't be afraid of sharing criticism, because what makes us great writers is that we can take constructive feedback and we can implement it later.
But you never know which story or which character is very close to someone.
We have come across like so many examples, personal experiences of people taking it the wrong way and like never speaking to us again. And like it's so hard to find good friends.
Right.
Like you get like really risk averse.
No,
I
get it. I get it.
Feedback, but it's
I can only say
yes,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for I can
let's
only
do a
say
call or something.
But yeah, like sometimes if I don't communicate something quickly, it's probably because like I'd rather have verbals to communicate it, so I'd rather wait a little bit. Or
as well as like you can get that feedback of at least voice, like sometimes you can hear in someone's voice when they're upset and but they're still saying, "Oh no, I'm fine." And like, yeah, that's not how the voice of fine people sound.
No, I feel very sad for those writers who can't take it, because like, okay, I got feedback on a character that is kind of like me,
right?
So she's quite close, and I'm not taking it badly at all. It's like, hey, you know what? That is true. And I'm like, hey, I have to implement that. And I'm like, I take it because like a lot of what I do as a writer that has nothing to do with grammar and editing and things is like the humble part of it is I am not a perfect writer. I am not perfect.
I've got to figure out how to send you some. While I was listening to it, I made notes on all of the. Did you mean to put these two sentences together, or is this
or was that a typo, or was that a what? Yeah.
or is that like even a translation issue of, since you're not a truly native English speaker, could
be a problem of grammar,
of like lost in translation.
Yeah.
Yep, that could be, and that could very much be a problem.
And so it's like I've got a whole bunch of these little marked out ones of I just need you to clarify which one.
There's a bunch of it.
And it takes me out for a moment.
Tom, I just want to point out, Tom and I both love to do developmental edits, but he is like, it's kind of funny. We talk about how like together we make almost a whole person, but individually, we're kind of wobbly around. And so, like, the things I don't like to do, Tom loves to do, and the things Tom doesn't like to do, I love to do. So it really works out. Our friendship is very helpful for us to essentially, like, bolster each other up. But, like, together, we absolutely love developmental edits. But what we do developmental edit-wise, is editorial, is dramatically different. And that's why we were like, maybe we should just do it as a company to, like, for our friends and for everyone. Because, again, we want to bolster everyone. to like publish in whatever capacity they feel like. But yeah, Tom, if anybody wants developmental editing and you want the line by line, the detail stuff, Tom is so good at it. I don't brag on him about the things I don't genuinely believe he's talented at, because I am his older sister. And I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to brag on this. Tom is so good at this. Tom is so talented at this. If you want someone to lovingly, help raise your little baby chick story, and like, no, there's a little parasite here, let's take it off. Oh, they got a little dirt on their little leg, let's take that off. Tom is the person. Tom is so good at this. And
it is but it's beautiful. Like, I understand completely the not taking the risk to say things, because people might take it, they might take it. People don't want to tell me about my grammar issues, because maybe I will get offended. And I'm like, dude, English is my second language. There are issues. Tell me.
I think maybe it's just like, so for instance, we've now had this conversation. We know Doll is like very accepting and understanding of, there can be things lost in translation. It's just how language works, right?
Yeah.
And like, here's Eva talking about they prefer text communication, like email, or Maggie has edited for me in Google Docs and like left all these stuff, which was really wonderful and helpful for the Mabel Woke Up Dead story. And but like, let's say if like Tom had, editorial things to mention to Eva for one of her stories, if she prefers it and promises not to take it personally, whatever, of like, to give him the benefit of the doubt, then I think Tom would be comfortable with sending more print feedback. It's just one of these of like, you have to promise to be my friend. That's sort of like, I don't know. I'm wandering around with words and I'm not sure I'm hitting any mark.
It is a risk aversion. Is the anxiety of, maybe I should not say it, like.
Well, when you've had so many encounters,
so many negative experiences,
it's not just, in your mind. It's like, no,
it is not in your, no, but I agree with you. It's not just in your, it isn't just in your head. It is not. Because when it happens and it just keeps on happening,
he reviewed one book and it disbanded the whole book club.
Right. There's a pattern.
Nobody wrote this book in the club, by the way.
Wow.
They just never wanted to meet again.
Wow.
And we went home, we parked the car, and I was like, and I literally just kept quoting him that night in the car, in the dark, of like, you said this and this and this, and I tried to stop you, and you were like, no, I have more to say about this book. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, they all had this look of silent screaming horror on their face. And I'm like, I hate to admit it, but I was fascinated with this train wreck as it continued. And sure
afterwards,
enough,
they couldn't remember why. They just knew they didn't want to have a book club again.
Nobody was available for this book club for 6 months straight.
Wow.
Yes. Like, so he's had some genuinely awkward experiences. It wasn't even a book any of the rest of them had read.
Wow.
Yeah.
I cannot look at the book Unseen Academicals by Terry Pratchett the same ever again.
That wasn't the book I did.
Which one was the book? I thought it was that one. I know that was the book I was talking about at that book club.
No, it was Biff.
I feel like
Biff was the one.
In order to be a writer, my feeling is that you really have to, like, this is something I don't hear so much on AuthorTube, for example. I don't hear about I wouldn't say humble. That's not the word you see, I have issues. But like, you have to work on your understanding that you need feedback. And feedback will come in different angles depending on the person. Some people will give you more technical feedback. Some people will give you more story-wise feedback, like big picture. So, like, you have to take it, like, whichever way it comes. And some of it might bother you, and some of it might, keep you scratching your head for a while. But it is important to know, how the book or chapter or whatever is being received. So you can make it better than it is at the moment. How are you going to make it better than it is at the moment if you don't get that feedback? There is no learning opportunity if you don't get it. So, like, what I do a lot is that this will sound very hippy dippy. I don't mean it, but like, you have to work on yourself. You have to be very open to the possibility that what you have is maybe not that good yet, but it could be.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
like you cannot, like, the whole concept of you're not a good writer because your book is trash. No, you just didn't develop it to the point that you could have. Some people rush to publish. Some people don't listen to the feedback. We have big author tubers that have released books that, well, I mean, it was kind of rushed, or maybe if it wasn't rushed, they just didn't listen to the feedback because they are
Hmm.
big tubers. They don't need to listen to anybody because they are big. They will have a
Oh, I have
fandom anyway.
heard some stories about
Mhm.
some of the AuthorTube books.
Yeah. I'm very aware. I have read them, so I can talk. Because this is the other thing. So no, but this is the other thing. I will never talk if I have not read the book. That's not correct. That is not what I do. If I talk, it's because I have seen that book or parts of the book. Sometimes I DNF,
Mhm.
but I have seen parts of the book, and I have seen with my own eyes and ears that, yep, that thing is not just other people being salty. It's actually a problem, and that. How am I going to, like, the last thing I want is to be another of those. So I take everything that comes my way, and I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna work on making things better than they were before. Because I can work hard all that I want, but if I do it alone,
Mhm.
I will never catch the blind
Yes.
spots that I will never catch them because I cannot catch everything alone.
It is true, absolutely true. I mean, that's one of the things why we wanted to talk about allies is,
There you go.
allies includes work colleagues who are allies.
Mhm.
And I really would like to think that, while I don't know friendship-wise how everybody feels about everyone else on AuthorTube, at the very least, we really all need allies from each other, allyship from each other, because that is what we need. We need the support of other people in our work community, if you will, to be as good as we possibly can be, and to put out these stories that are going to help other readers. I mean, because like no single writer can write enough to even keep one reader fully satisfied, even for a year. It's just not
You will never satisfy everybody. That's
right.
You have to keep that in mind.
So I don't know where I was going. I totally
There
lost
was
it.
Glory. There was a question up above that
Yeah.
for both of us.
Oh yeah, there was something. No. Wasn't it from Maggie?
I think it was from Maggie.
Like, why, yes, the coffee has not, in fact, helped my ADHD as much as I would like. Okay, here's a question for Gloria and Doll. How do you deal with those who invite you to co-host, but then you feel like they have you there because of your differences?
Yeah, Glory, have you had this experience?
Okay. I have not had this experience.
Not
I
yet.
have not been invited. In fact, I have not actually been invited on anything like, I mean, well, no, let me rephrase that. Charlie has invited me. Like, I don't want to like shortchange Charlie here. Charlie, like, it's more like, sisters. So I just
It's a
assume I
sister.
have a standing
No,
room
but you
only
mean
kind of
you
thing.
mean like invited to someone that maybe you don't talk too much often, like
Right.
yeah.
Charlie is the only person who's ever out and outright invited me to any of their streams. The other ones I have shown up on, I have essentially kind of gotten myself on. Like I've said, like, I would love to be on your stream, and if you would ever be interested in mine, that sort of, like, I've been the one to reach out to them. Abigail came onto ours, and after the show, we talked, and a couple times later when we talked, I was like, oh, if you ever want, because like she came on another one of our shows, and I said, and if you'd ever like me to come on yours, I want you to know, like, I see it both ways, not just you come on my show. And so I went on to one of her shows, but like the other ones I've been on, it was, never directly contacted. It was always like someone else was saying, oh, hey, they're doing a roundup, and I'd like go put my name in.
Right. No, I've been invited to several things. but no, so far I have not had that experience. When it comes to author-tube, no, not really. I haven't felt that I was there just to be the token, and I think I have an answer for that. I'm so straight. I'm so outspoken in that sense that I would be the first to I would say it in the middle of a stream, and I wouldn't give a damn. So and they know that, so they keep their distance.
I definitely have, however, on shows I've been on, like with the write-a-thons, the various ones, I have felt though that like not every one of the shows I've been on I felt comfortable talking about my autism. Or any of my, or like the ADHD. Like I have felt on some of those that I needed to essentially sort of not mention my differentness instead, for like, because it's not exactly a safe space vibe. And so I have essentially self-edited. Where even like I didn't mention the awkward sibling hours about autism. Like that's how much I didn't necessarily feel comfortable. That I just would say like, oh, well, this upcoming week we're going to talk about PTSD recovery, and I didn't mention it's about autism and PTSD recovery. I just said it was awkward sibling hour. I said that it was called that, but again, that doesn't have the autism word in there. So I have self-edited on various shows, and I have like, because of previous experiences on other author-tuber shows where I mentioned I was autistic, and suddenly the vibe among the other people on the show changed, and I felt uncomfortable, and I felt like they weren't as chummy with me anymore, and they weren't as comfortable around me, and so I didn't want that again. So different shows, different people, like there's no crossover of the people that this has happened with, so I have like self-edited for fear of it happening again. And I do that also in real life, quite frankly. Like, I don't necessarily tell people, like, people are like, oh, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I have a show on YouTube that I do with Tom every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. But I don't necessarily tell them what it's about.
What it's about.
If I tell them what's like this is what I have done actually in the last couple months. I tell them like, well, in April, we're going to start talking about movies. Like, I make this like, there's like a gap, but most people don't really pick up on it, so I get by, and that's because there is so much negative view about like autism, ADHD. Like ADHD and adults, people are like, oh, so you're drug seeking? Like I've literally had both.
Oh god, no, sounds ridiculous, but once I had a person, this was so many years ago, and it was not on AuthorTube or anything. I was a singer. And someone asked me on a message, we were like chatting in a forum or whatever, and this person was like, so what drugs are you using? I was like, because I see you in your videos and you look high. I was like,
what?
My eyes, because my eyes are clearly, I mean, you have seen my eyes, they are.
Yeah, I have, but like they didn't look high, they looked awesome, but it's totally different.
They look, but because you look high.
Eyes look like that from, okay, you know what? I don't know. Showing. I don't know.
I mean,
I obviously don't know enough about drugs, but anyway.
People, I guess. But I said no. I mean, I have an eyesight problem. That's why my eyes look like that. I mean, I don't do drugs actually. So I'm clean. and they were like, oh, I don't believe you. I mean, you're a musician, so what are you on? And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So people, welcome to the internet.
People are wild.
And
people
this is
undomesticated.
This is why I don't feral people. This is why I don't turn on the camera, or I turn it on really sparsely.
I can understand that. But yeah, like even doctors have like said, so I can't give you drugs. Like literally, like when I'm like, well, with the new doctor, and I'm like, I literally didn't know I was asking for other than like all the medications that I already, because y'all know I have like plenty of health problems, an alphabet soup of issues. Thanks, Mom and Nan. I've enjoyed the genetics. But yeah, of like, okay, I more tell them that I have ADHD so they understand that I keep over talking them, and I'm not trying to like be rude. It's like, yes, I in fact have an impulse control issue, and I'm giving you my best, and sometimes it's not going to work. Sorry. Of like, but still call me out like, Stop talking, Glory. Often, if I put my hands under my legs when I'm sitting, it helps me not overtalk people. For real.
It is a very interesting aspect that I sometimes I have caught the vibe of maybe I'm not welcome here. But the thing is, I'm already there, so I should just scrub it off and just go on with it. But but I've had it. It had to do with the person that I confronted. Actually, all of a sudden, the person was very quiet if I was in the stream, and sometimes, and the other co-host was like, "Oh, you're super quiet." And the person was like, "Well, I mean, I know when, like, I just know when when what was it? Well, I just know when the hell to shut the fuck up," or something like that. I was like, because I was talking, like I was in the conversation and this person was super quiet, and then the other co-host said that, and then I just know when the hell to shut the fuck up. I was like, oh, I see you. And that was the last time, since that person hangs out in there, I was like, I think this is time for me to not attend this piece of the community anymore. Because like you're still doing the same thing that I confronted you about. You're still doing it. It was not a one-off. I see.
Right.
So I was like, I don't, and by the way, this is the person who is like getting the diagnosis for autism. Is the same person. So I'm like, okay, I see you, and it is so uncomfortable. Like I blocked this person from every. If they are in the chat, I can see you. I blocked you. I don't know. I mean, it is so uncomfortable. It's that to the point that if I attend that piece of the community, it is like at a very discreet. Yeah, like I just, because I want to support the streamer, the host. The host is nice. I love that person. I'm like, hey, I want to be there. But like, I understand that there are some other people here that maybe, okay, I guess it's not the time for me to be here. At first, I was like not giving a damn because they don't own that space, so I have all the rights to be. But it was taxing on my energy, and I was like, nah. And I kind of stopped hanging around there because it's why would I do that? Like I know that it's just not the time and place, and I will come at some other time. It is uncomfortable. It is like, someone who is supposedly like Glory, like what you say throughout this whole thing, that you feel like you overtalk, that you feel like you have to, that blah, 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 all the things that you mentioned about like over communicating.
Oh yes, I am in fact holding my hands to stop interrupting you.
Don't worry about it. But like, no, but like, you see, you have a lot of like, what an alphabet soup. So this person who is getting the diagnosis for autism, quote unquote, saying, "Oh, I just know when the hell to shut the fuck up," kind of under the table directing that at me. I was like, "Oh, yeah, very autistic of you, very, very." It's no, it just doesn't go like that. And I can catch the problem I have is that I overanalyze. And that's a flaw, and I know
You're among people. You're among your people.
You're among your people here, honey. Like, yeah, like all the week after every one of these shows, I play over in my head everything I've said, everything everyone else has said, in case like I've missed some sort of nuance or I've been inconsiderate or like,
I have the problem that I overanalyze, but I notice the pattern that I do that only when I get the vibe that, like that person, for example, like after that person said that, my brain went off. Like I was so happy that I was not on camera, or was I don't remember, but my brain went off, and I have not returned to their streams because I see that it was not a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, because I mean, like passive aggression is still aggression. It doesn't mitigate the aggression part. It mitigates that you look overtly.
Everybody, exactly. It omits that everybody else caught it.
Yes. So actually, it's still aggression. It's still a slap in the face.
It is.
Although that does also kind of bring up something, we've had problems in another group
Mhm.
And we just sort of stopped attending that group but this also actually brings up about allies, of what makes a good ally, is that no one else in this other group had a problem with these negative behaviors from one particular person. No one else spoke up since it wasn't them being targeted.
Twice in 2 different incidences.
And that kind of let us know that it wasn't just that person, it was the entire group was okay with this. They did not see a problem with it. They didn't even, when we talked about it later with them, they didn't even, other people in the group didn't even note it in their mind that anything wrong had happened. And that was like, oh, okay, it is all of this group. These are not people to hang out with.
Yeah, they're not nice people. Like, while they may not be overtly aggressive, they're obviously okay with this kind of, I wouldn't even call it microaggression. It was pretty aggressive, quite frankly. But I don't feel welcome. And I am now finally at the experience points, age, whatever you want to call it, of I don't feel any need to go hang out with people that I don't feel welcome and safe with. So forget that.
Right. It is like I said, I appreciate, and I really like the other person, the streamer, the owner of the stream. But when the crowd is including that other person, I think it is just fair to, okay, I will go do something else, and just keep it peaceful. Because the last thing I want to do is create any drama of any kind. It is not my nature. I just don't have the spoons. I don't have the stamina for that.
I say I don't want to create drama, and then every once in a while, that impulse control is like, oh, I was out getting water, Glory. And I'm just like, just say what is on my mind instead of keeping my mouth shut.
No, this is why I'm not giving any identifiers to the person, because I want to talk about the situation, but at the same time, I'm not here to
I'm not here to drag anybody.
Exactly.
Because that's literally just, it's not like, oh, I'm trying to be, I don't know, whatever, ethically above it. I don't know what would be the word, but I'm just not the kind of person that's like, oh, hey, y'all all should know that there's been somebody who's gross. No, I just mean this is an example of some of the struggles and how where, I have stumbled, where we've experienced roadblocks, I guess, or because so many times I feel like people are maybe reflexively quick to put us on a pedestal. Oh, Glory, you're so smart, you're so whatever. And I'm like, okay, but let me tell you, intelligence does not get you out of, poverty or a hole or anything. Please don't put me on a pedestal, because I am definitely an imperfect person who is trying to get through this and obviously has many struggles. And the only way I know to try to keep from being put on pedestals, because what comes with the pedestal is the inevitable fall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so I dread the pedestal, because I'm just here trying to figure it out. And we do the show because in part, it seems like, no, we're not really finding a lot of actually autistic people talking about their own struggles in a, I don't know, how do you say, non-sensational way?
Yeah.
Like a talk radio kind of, I don't not know how to explain this sort of weird sensationalism, but we're just trying to be honest about, we're just
right.
Figure it out.
This is my biggest fiasco. I'm a verbal person. I can talk, but this is the reason why I feel the Sia movie is so it's I feel so heartbroken. I loved her songs.
Me too. I'm very upset that she's ruined on my playlist, because now I have to go through all my playlists and remove her. How dare you, woman?
No, I don't. No, look, I don't remove her. I don't go there. But I have not listened to any of the songs from that movie. and then, or I listened to one of them and I didn't like it. So I was like, okay, so this is the new tone that she went. I just don't like that tone. So I stay with the oldies, you know, what she did before. And I separate, but at the same time, it is like, why did you like who is influencing you to do this, you know? Because why would you do that? It's the same thing I had with the other person. Why would you do that? It's like my brain is like, I just don't understand. Why would you do that? And again, she made it about her. It's not about the character of music. It's not about the struggle of music as a character who's nonverbal, and it's not about music as a person. It's about her as a film director with her issue film, you know, her important movie. It is about her and her statement film. And it's like, why would you do that? It's, I want to make it like, this is the thing, Glory. I have wanted, since I am also a singer-songwriter trying to become a writer, and trust me, there is a learning curve that I feel that Sia just skipped completely. I have wanted to make a video about it precisely because I have something in common with this woman.
Yeah.
In the sense that we come from the same background. She's just super famous and I wasn't, but still, and same background.
Right.
Getting into another artistic path, and what goes wrong when it comes to her storytelling skills. And I have wanted to make a video about that from the storytelling standpoint. And I just feel like maybe not, because, well, first of all, I'm not autistic. I'm disabled, but not autistic. So it's like, I don't know if that's my place to speak. I could throw in a disclaimer and link autistic creators so people can go below and watch them. I could do that, but at the same time, I feel like, I don't know if this is correct. You know, and so I haven't made that video yet, but I have wanted for so long to talk about that because I have enough personal experiences as a disabled person in general, and how some people take us to make something inspiring out of us. And it's like, you know, I've been through that as a singer. I was not a singer. I was the blind, exotic looking girl from a faraway land who wants to be a singer, you know, like so I've had that kind of situation, and I wanted to talk about like the sensationalism that comes with being disabled when you suddenly blow up, you know, when you suddenly become big, or the news feeds want to do with you, or they want to talk to you on a radio show, or they want because you're so inspiring because you woke up and made a sandwich today. And it's just like, I have wanted to make a video about that, because the whole Sia movie is basically that. It's basically that. And it is just another example of ableism and inspiration porn thing. It is just so not right. And I'm over here with my brain going around, Sia, why would you do that? Why? What is your reasoning behind it? You are a person who has written so many songs about being oppressed, about breaking free, about not giving up, about, like, you know, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, like, doll, that is how I feel. Like, I have privately cried and screamed a lot in the last 3 or 4 months now about the Sia movie. And
it just makes no sense. It is as if she was a completely different person.
It's so hateful. And the world is already in such a mess and is already so conflicted that we don't need more hate on top of everything else. We don't need to objectify people who are already struggling.
Exactly.
And it's so ugly. Ugly, like on the inside ugly. You know, I'm not talking about like visual prettiness. It's so ugly on the inside, and the spirit of it is so ugly that it is just disheartening. You know, it breaks my heart. And I honestly didn't think a stranger who I've never met could break my heart in, you know, the 2020s. I thought I was beyond this. I mean,
I thought it wouldn't happen. And, you know, like, she writes very positive music. She writes about like the struggles, and, like, you know, Chandelier was a masterpiece about, and she was so honest about it. So I'm trying. It is like I'm trying so hard to understand what the hell went wrong there,
All
and
right,
why.
so there is
Yeah.
one possible answer that is the go-to.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily correct at all, but it does, in retrospect, turn out to be more true than it ever should be. And it's summed up from the Chappelle Show interview with Rick James. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Oh.
Okay, we're not necessarily saying anyone has been actively using drugs.
Yeah.
Because
But-
we don't know and it's not our place. And also, maybe addiction is terrible. I mean, addiction is terrible, but I'm just saying, like, we don't know that it's a comedic thing that was said in a show. Go on, Tom.
But what it more references is that once you have power, once you are the person other people look to decide what direction you're going in, you just want to maintain that power, and so any choice you make feels really good to you. That's actually what cocaine does, is it increases your dopamine. And it's that sensation you get whenever you make a choice that's the correct choice. And that's like what Maggie was talking about, of all of her sensitivity people are yes people.
Mm-hmm.
Their only real job is to tell her, yes, that's a wonderful idea. Yes, you are correct.
Right.
They're not actually being critical.
But
they're not giving her good advice.
She is obviously the person who's cultivated a relationship of being surrounding herself with people who are not honest with her. She does not value the honesty of others. And that says a lot about her. Again, versus like what we're trying to say, we try to like bring up like almost every episode, if not every episode, is please call us on it. If we say something that you're like, wait, what? Or did you mean it? Like, please let us know. Give us feedback. But also, like, know that in our hearts, we are trying to be genuine and honest and authentic. But if anything comes off wrong to you, follow your instinct and call us on it, because please give us a moment to at least clarify.
Right.
But also that feedback to know, don't use that phrase. That phrase can be very misinterpreted. It's because we need that, because we do not automatically know this. And we are not trying to be, like these other things that other people use, like passive aggression or microaggression or this like jerk things to say, inconsiderate. We're not trying that, but we need to overtly say that, because how would anyone know if you don't say it, right?
If you don't say it, exactly.
And if you don't say it often, so people understand. And then when they do give you feedback, that you're like, thank you, rather than like literally, there was something Steph said a week or 2 or 3 ago, something about like, remember I was saying something about how when I put on makeup behind the scenes, backstage, people often get quiet. And I was like, why do people getting quiet? And Steph said something like, oh, because, I figured you needed to concentrate. And I, instead of saying, thank you for being considerate, I really appreciate that, but it's totally okay because the makeup thing, I'm like half paying attention anyway. I mean, like, I didn't say it. Instead, I just said, oh, no, don't worry about that. That's not like, I felt like afterwards I was like, oh, I did not mean to make her feel like I shot her down. I was just, in that over exuberance of, oh, no, don't worry about that. But I'm like, did it land that way? I'm not sure. That sort of, remember I said where afterwards I play over everything I say for the next week, the whole, that sort of thing. But I mean, it is easy to misinterpret the things I've said, at least based on all the feedback I have gotten over the last 40 plus years. So it's just part and parcel is, oops, I hope no one feels like I shot them down when they do give feedback, because yikes, I can be a little over exuberant and that can seem aggressive, I guess. At least I've been told it can be, and I don't want it to be that way. Versus the kind of person who, frankly, is selfish and is trying to use something to like essentially propagate hateful ableism and objectifying a person who already is not getting the advocacy they so richly deserve.
Yes.
So
this is why I would love to have a dialogue with her, but like calmly, no, I'm not gonna cry. But
I don't know that she would be open to it, quite frankly, because it sounds like there's a bunch of people who've actually been trying.
But again, it's the internet, like they have come in bulks to try to talk to her. Like, okay, I understand that too. I'm trying, and it would be like nice to have like a quiet one-on-one dialogue with her to see what the heck is going on. And from musician to musician, trying to be writers kind of standpoint and see what the you know what I mean. Like I feel like personally, I have a kind of like a connection with other aspects of her career, and I would just like, hey, Sia, like just have a dialogue, see what is really going on.
Well, apparently, from the research I found, even there's an autism group in Australia that before anyone knew the movie when it was going to come out, she had sent them a copy and asked them to like.
Oh yes.
And then they sent back essentially feedback, like we were just discussing about email me print feedback.
Right.
And so she apparently refused to respond to them for literally weeks.
Oh no.
And they felt like so discouraged that they made that lovely video. Like they were not planning to release it yet, but they essentially, mainlined the process to put out that video about autistic people who are nonverbal, like to give them this opportunity to essentially that short that is so beautiful. In order to essentially have something of nonverbal autistic people being able to advocate, speak for themselves in a video, at least to have that along with the Sia's movie coming out at the same time. So her piece wouldn't be the only thing showing, quote, examples of nonverbal autistic people. And again, she has continued months later, still refused to respond to any of their private emails or conversations. So again, I'm not sure she would be open to a conversation.
No, I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't feel like she would be open to it, and that's the very disheartening part, because her music says something completely different. And her previous behavior, she made a whole fuss about the situation in Orlando with the Pulse nightclub back in 2016. She even made a video about what happened. And so she seems to be a completely different person when it comes to like other kinds of social issues. And this is why I am so conflicted now. Like when the back in this 2016 the whole event at Pulse happened, you made a music video like as an analogy and like as a condolences to the people who were lost in that murder event. And now you make this, and you don't not only want to represent an autistic person, you want to represent a non-verbal autistic person, a person who doesn't have the capacity to verbally communicate if something is distressing them. It's like the person who literally doesn't have a voice. Literally. And it's like, why would you, like, seriously, why do people do this kind of thing? It's like, if I can compare, like, because I understand that the controversy of using Maddie Ziegler instead of an autistic actress, I get it on both ends. I get it that you needed an autistic actress, and I also get the codependency that she has on Maddie, which is not healthy, but I get it from the business standpoint, because she's like officially her dancer. I get it. I do. You could have used both. You could have used the the autistic actress.
Yeah, she could have honestly used Maddie for the internal dance scenes.
Yeah, for the dancing scenes.
And then still had an autistic actress for the external,
the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
She could have done that. She could have gone that approach. I understand the codependency with Maddie. Like you see, I try so hard to understand every possible angle of the situation.
Yeah.
Before I even make a video about it.
So
but
probably one of the things you are seeing with Sia in this is she already had something planned out. She already knew what she wanted to do with Maddie.
Yes.
And then she was creating a project around that. And not only that, but we actually had heard little whispers and other comments from Sia through the past decade, if you actually go through interviews and stuff, about how close to her chest she tends to keep her real views and feelings about her own music and artistic expressions. She simply doesn't discuss it with other people because it's more, she learned about a decade ago that it's more financially viable if she just lets people interpret her artistic output the way they want to see it versus what she's really thinking. But she gets very emotional about it, which is why she simply doesn't talk about what she was actually thinking about and meaning to put out for her song, for the music video, what she was trying to express with it. Like, I saw the interview about was it Chandelier? What's the one? Is that the one with what's his face?
No, that's something about the heart. Isn't that called
Elastic Heart?
That's
Elastic Heart.
Right.
Elastic
with
Heart.
Shia LaBeouf.
The way Gloria and I really see Elastic Heart music video turns
we have
out
our own headcanon.
Entirely different from what Sia and Maddie were thinking of. And Sia knows this, that most people see it differently, and that's more publicly acceptable, like how we view things in our headcanon, than what she was thinking. And so she doesn't talk about it.
Right. She doesn't, like, I get it that you leave it open to interpretation and all that.
And so music and her actual movie ended up revealing more about
who she really
that was not getting massaged for public release than previously.
Oh dear.
Which is what happens with a lot of, once money's involved, everyone has a stake in it. But no, there's actually been kind of whispers about some of this behavior and thought process Sia had beforehand, but it was never in anything that was big enough for people to have a lot of discussion about.
Wow, it is disheartening, but this is a person who supposedly is an ally, and it's not.
Hence why it is absolutely appropriate we talk about this today. Thank you, doll. I mean, yes, because of the false ally problem. And as well as like autistic people, as well as neurotypical people, want to know how to be good allies and how to avoid supporting false allies. It's a quagmire. The truth is, there's no perfect answer because it's about people, so it's a quagmire. It's just, so of course, we definitely need like essentially a dialogue. We need a conversation about this and to continue our conversations about allyship and friendship, because when people are involved, everything gets messy. But that doesn't mean that just because it gets messy, we shouldn't keep trying to talk about it. I mean, yes, things are hard. It's called being human. It's just part of it, But
it is difficult.
There's good payoffs. It's not just, it's hard and I just don't feel like it anymore. It's like, I understand if you don't feel like it right now, that's cool. But like, let's keep trying to have the conversations when we feel strong enough, when we feel bolstered and supported enough to have a heart-to-heart. Because after heart-to-hearts, I know at least I feel heard and seen and appreciated, even when maybe not everybody saw eye to eye with me about everything. That's fine. But like, that's the beauty of heart-to-hearts is, making that heart connection. Maggie says the popularity versus controversy behind the movie shows the bias in the culture. Seeing it through their own filter as acceptable, while those of us on the inside of the bubble are screaming mad. Very true.
Yeah, this is why the Golden Globes and all those trophies are a joke to me. Because this is why I wanted to make the video trying very hard, and this is why the video has not happened, is because I'm trying to see it as a cold-headed, not as a disabled person, not as a none of that, just from the coldly looking at it from the storytelling standpoint.
Yes.
And even then, it sucks. Even then, it's poorly developed. Even then, it's like You should have made it about the sister instead of music.
Well, and like honestly, like we had when we started this show, the original Awkward Sibling Hour, first season, I mean, in last August, we had no idea that I really thought to see a movie because I had like inklings of it, and I thought, oh, it's gonna be great. This is gonna be so awesome. Da, da. But like we wanted to do the Awkward Sibling Hour. We specifically stated in the first episode, technically the first two, because like, do we count the first? Yes, December 111th, 2020. It's going on. Yeah.
Hush, Maggie. Stop that.
We specifically stated that we wanted to do this show in part to give authors who are not neurodivergent themselves an example of two autistic people talking to each other, because we've known each other literally decades, brother and sister. So
some might say all our lives.
Well, all of your life. I'm the
at least most of it.
I'm the other one. And yeah, I'm just saying. But like,
special.
We don't mask as much with each other. And so to give them examples of essentially two autistic people talking to each other as well as to other people, both neurotypical and neurodivergent people, and they could see examples, because one of the things that I found galling was so many books I've read where the dialogue between one autistic person and a neurotypical, or between two autistic people, is like, seriously, we don't talk about Legos all the time. And we don't talk about trains all the dang time. Although, yes, I do love trains, and I do love riding on Amtraks. And I have done a 3-day trip on an Amtrak all the way up to Canada, and it was fantastic, y'all. I got to see gazelles, whole herds of gazelles running through the Midwest. It was fantastic. So, well, yes, I can talk a lot about my train trips. Nevertheless, they could have examples. Like, they could honestly just run our show in the background. Hi, Sid. Mwah. Hello, sweetie. They could see it and like just listen and like kind of get inspiration for dialogues for their autistic characters, because no, I do not think you have to be autistic to write autistic characters. I would like way more representation than that, but I would like as accurate as humanly possible representation, because people just don't have a clue. And I understand that there's only 2% of the general population is autistic at most. So far, in theory. It may be more, actually. But how are we going to do it? I was looking all over the internet, and I really wasn't finding much that was free of two or more autistic people having conversations about autistic community issues, as well as other things, you know, like where we talk about movies and storytelling, that there really wasn't any examples, let alone literally hours of examples that were freely available, or that people could even interact with, of like, yes, bring me your characters. We'll talk about it in chat, you know, kind of thing. And this is why we do it. In part is like, here, take these examples. And also, what else do you all want to talk about? And also, please be heard and seen. We want you heard and seen here.
It is awesome.
Yeah, let's see. CB says, I royally facepalm when I read the Babysitter's Club book 32, Christy and the Secret of Susan. It's about a nonverbal autistic child who gets sent away to school. Yes, I remember this book. I read it in middle school. It's a long time ago, y'all. It was back in the 90s. And the whole savant thing, because they keep using the word, they used, anyway.
As a way to justify, really, someone's inclusion.
And they definitely objectify Secret Susan in the book and the various characters, including, by the way, the parents. The parent characters of Susan in the book.
Wow.
They say some things that are kind of objectifying. And even at the time, I felt like this was upsetting. And like, okay, y'all, if we're going to talk about allyship, I did want to bring this up. It's on my list. Here it is. Y'all know I had a complicated relationship with my mother. She was not somebody that I would say, oh yeah, she's like a perfect example of a wonderful parent. I would not say that ever. Not even if you had a gun to my head. But my mother never made me feel ashamed of being autistic. My mother, even before, like, because y'all know I have a dissociative disorder. So the memories about being taken away from my family and put in an institution for 3 weeks where I was diagnosed with autism, And then my parents swearing me to secrecy to never tell anybody about it. And like every time I mentioned, they're like, no, we don't talk about that. Like literally for a decade. And even when I was in my 20s and I made friends with someone else who was another journalist and on the other side of the country, and they had an autistic child, and she was telling me all about like how terrible Autism Speaks is. Like seriously, some of those old videos are really
Disturbing. Oh,
like
Yeah.
bone chilling. And I would tell mom about it. Even then, when mom was like essentially sort of pretending that I wasn't autistic, not because she was ashamed, but because she felt like all I was going to experience is prejudice and no support. So she was like, no, you're fine. You know, that sort of thing. She still was very interested in the autism community and being supportive. And she did her research every time I would tell her about the latest thing so-and-so had told me on the phone about, you know, this and taking care of her autistic son, and how, you know, there are people who want to deny that autism is genetic because, so they keep saying it's vaccines, and mom would always go look it up. She would, because she still wanted to be an advocate and ally, even though she was also like a secret mom of an autistic child. And I'm like, my mother was an advocate and an ally. Why is it so hard for some of these other people? My very troubled, my mother who did not protect me from a whole bunch of abuse, who herself emotionally and occasionally physically abused me, still was more of an advocate and an ally than so many other family members of autistic people that I have met. What the heck, y'all? So again, that was like why it's like this is a complicated relationship I have with my mother. Even though, yes, she is dead. The relationship doesn't die. I'm just saying.
right.
But like that, I want to say to other people, including any autistic people who wander through and find our channel and watch a show, who have been isolated from the autistic community, of it's okay. The things you feel, they probably are accurate, including the complicated relationships you may now be experiencing from your family. Because wait, they isolated me, but they say they love me. It's probably both. They probably do love you. But yes, they probably have done some things that are kind of like borderline abusive.
Right. And in some cases, not even borderline, just downright abusive.
Well, you know, people when they're first, sometimes they, you know, they don't want to, you know, I'm trying to like toe dip this to try to be considerate to people I don't know yet, but I hope you will let us know that you are here. Let's see, was it this one that
I share?
This one?
Yeah.
I didn't get to read it.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Maggie says, there is so much pushback against the autistic community about autistic moms, and there should be. I am glad that there are now Discord rooms for autistic support. Some are great, but a few are so toxic. Yes, I've heard about some of the toxic ones. By the way, y'all, just for the record, if you are looking to actually find actually autistic people and not people who say they're autism allies and who are false allies, there are now 2 hashtags I'd like to encourage you to research to at least like maybe find people or see how the conversation is going. And that is hashtag actually autistic and hashtag autism pride or autistic pride. The rest of them have pretty much all been hijacked by Autism Speaks. But those 2 are being used by the actual autism community that is not trying to isolate people. Or call them burdens. And so, and you know, thank you. That while if you're not autistic, don't use the actually autistic hashtag yourself, unless you're trying to talk about someone else, you know, of like, they told me they are hashtag actually autistic. That is valid. But, you know, nevertheless, you can use these hashtags to see the conversation. No one in the autism community minds that non-autistics are researching this hashtag to see what the conversation is and then to participate in the conversation, even if it seems appropriate to you. We absolutely understand, and we want you to engage with us rather than engaging with, you know, the darker side of the autism community.
It is a strange relationship that this is something that overlaps a little bit with other, sometimes the overlaps. I'm not saying all the time, but like some of us are not lucky. Other members of disability communities, you know, we also get a complicated relationship with a biological parent. if the parent is even around, because like that's the case. The case with me, my biological family is my biological father basically doesn't exist. I know him online. I have exchanged a few emails, and that's as far as my relationship with my biological father goes. It is beautiful, quote unquote beautiful. I'm being sarcastic. It is notorious that the man has nothing to do with me. I am not. I don't know what I am not enough for him. I guess I don't care anymore. So that's where we stand. He doesn't care. Okay, daddy, fine. I have another father. It's fine. It's all right. And my biological mother was kind of similar to your mother in the sense that she never. I think she went the other extreme. She was like, you are just as capable as anyone who's sighted. You don't need to special whatever. You don't need rehab. You don't need this. You don't need it. You are just like other kids, except that you cannot see. Yeah, but the cannot see part is affecting me in school.
It's kind of a big deal in a sighted world, you know? Like, it's hard to navigate it.
Yeah, exactly. So she went to the extreme of you're like a daredevil kind of thing. And that's not healthy either, because you're not giving the tools for a child with an eyesight problem to adapt to the things that you sighted people do. And yeah, she gave me a magnifier glass, and I think that was it. You know, there was nothing else. I basically
that's a metaphor right there. I'm not exactly sure, but it seems like that's like a metaphor for something.
I think the meme for that,
a magnifying glass to a visually impaired person saying this is all you need is like, whoa.
I think the meme for that is like with a bird and a chick and a "This is Sparta" picking the chick out of the nest
and just pushing them there. This is Sparta. Yeah. If you can't fly, that's your own problem.
Yeah. It's that kind of that's
like you obviously don't have the emotional fortitude. Boom.
Right. And so like there was a lot of like you can go to a regular school, you will go to a regular school, you will do fine. And not only you will do fine, I will push you to be an A student, to be the best in the classroom. You're gonna do anything just so your homework gets done and it gets done well. So it was that kind of pressure, which I mean I get it. But dude, I literally can barely see what I'm writing. I need a little bit of help over here. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate it because it gave me some degree of strength of character to an extent. But at the same time, it gave me so much trauma that I'm like, yeah. It is like Glory says, it's complicated. It is complicated.
Yeah.
So that part I overlap, that part of overlapping that I share with the autism community, even though I am neurotypical. I'm never going to claim something that I'm not. I have many minorities, but I am neurotypical as far as I'm aware. Right. I've never been diagnosed with anything, and there has never been any hint from anyone in particular that she might be blah blah blah. No, I have never had it, so I am neurotypical. But the overlapping that I see between other disabilities and how like the lack of awareness, that's where it comes down to. It's like the ignorance from the parents or the caretakers. It comes down to ignorance. It comes down to not knowing how to treat these people precisely because there's not enough awareness out there. And it's the only thing that we get is the sensationalized inspiration porn bullshit.
Yes.
And so when a parent gets a child and the child comes quote unquote defective, they don't know what to do. And so we end up with this kind of problems. And yeah, that's in my sci-fi too. Hello. Yeah.
I feel here that I want to give a quote from our parents, mostly about my older sister here. But a certain degree is, to me as well, which was, to put it succinctly, tabula rasa my ass.
Yeah, the idea that children are born as blank slates upon which for parents and society to write upon.
Yeah, that ain't true for a single child ever born.
They still teach that in college.
This is a behaviorism mentality, and behaviorism has been discarded so long ago in psychology. It's ridiculous that some people still want to cling on to behaviorism as if it was a real science. Oh, please! Like,
Well, they still teach it. They still teach it in psychology.
they
classes in
still
America.
teach it in psychology.
In colleges. Yes. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's in the textbooks.
They still teach it. They still teach us about Watson and the experiments and the give me a dozen of healthy infant children and blah blah blah. And I will, that, by the way, I stole that quote. I copy pasted it, and it's in the second book of my sci-fi. It's in the door of Mr. Petrovich. He has that printed in the door in Cyrillic and Russian.
That is perfect for that character. Having read the first book, yeah, that's perfect way.
I feel like Doll
to
is
summarize
breadcrumbing
that
us for her
character.
book series. She's just breadcrumbing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Maggie
I
says,
mean, it's part of the character, and he is also a father, and he would be the best. He's a behaviorist through and through. That's what he wants to do. So, again, another form of abuse. It is.
Yeah.
Maggie says, as a mom, I step back sometimes from my need to protect my eldest from those who I suspect aren't really autistic and let her explore the world. But hubby and I will always be her greatest advocates.
Mhm.
So there's something that Tom and I used to talk about when we were younger, not that young, but like in our 20s and 30s, of there is a difference between entirely protecting a child from some sort of experience and inoculating them against that kind of, so, like people want to I want to protect my child from ever knowing hunger. And I'm like, that is not necessary, because they need to know hunger exists in the world and that there are plenty of people, particularly children, who go hungry every day. But you need to inoculate them by introducing to them in a protected way, repeatedly with a little bit less protection each time, until they understand and are strong enough to handle the truth of the world, if there is plenty of hunger, and that we all need to think about what we can do to address these problems. They are endemic, they are very serious, and they are complicated. So there's no easy fix for them, or someone would have already done it. So it's I know I went to college with actual people who thought that hunger and homelessness had been obliterated in the world. And I'm like, you are 23? You are 23 living in Mississippi, and you think this? What? And they were absolutely shocked. They had a very unpleasant landing, if you will, about this. Not that I was yelling at them or anything, but I'm like, how have you lived this long and had no clue that? They're like, oh, I thought every time I see a homeless person in movies, it's just for theatrical. And I'm like,
my
because
God,
their parents had lied to them their whole life.
I mean, okay, this is shocking, and I have shared this in other streams or whatever, but we had a professor of psychology, of all things. Incredible. I don't know if he was playing on a trick on us to see who would react. I don't know. But he said that racism was over in America because Mr. Obama was president. Because of Obama.
He's not the only one.
Yeah, he's not the only
one. People said that.
Yeah. A lot of people in Europe are eating this tale of, Obama is president. I mean, America is no longer racist. I'm like, there was another guy from Latin America, and we were the only Latinos in the class. The rest were just Norwegians and stuff, and we were the first to jump. What the hell are you talking? Excuse me, both of us at the same. It was like a knee-jerk reaction. We were like, excuse me, have you even been to the States to know the current situation over there? Why are you telling us that? I mean, and not even tell it to us. We're Latinos. We know this shit. But these folks over here who have never went out of the Norwegian village and now they're exploring the city for the first time. No shame, not sorry. I mean, why are you telling them, the privileged folks over there? Why are you telling them that racism is over? Why? Why are you doing this? It was very unpleasant. I'm so surprised that I was not expelled from the classroom. maybe that's what he wanted. I don't know.
No. We even heard that here in the U.S.
Wow.
People really thought that somehow this was a sign.
They still say this nonsense.
Versus the reality is, you get these swings back and forth in a society.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a pendulum. It swings back and forth.
Yep.
It never stops swinging.
Yep.
It stops swinging when everyone dies.
Also, Obama getting elected did not stop all the police brutality.
Right.
It did not stop the generational effects of redlining in America, where Black people were not given home loans and were, consistently had less generational wealth to pass on generation to generation.
Right.
Like, all of it did not dispel this. We did not all start on an even slate one day when we all woke up and Obama got inaugurated.
Yeah, this is what the hell is this people are these people talking about? This is ridiculous. Like, why?
I mean, like, the truth is, I feel like, wow, I would absolutely love to live in that bubble that they obviously live in, but also I would go insane in that bubble.
Like how dare you teach us psychology, dude? Seriously. I was questioning my whole degree that day. I was like, why am I here? What happened here? This is wrong. I had
So when you hear someone say a line like that, what you're often hearing is someone trying to absolve themselves of their own known negative points of view, their own bigotry.
Wow.
They're trying to absolve themselves of it by saying, oh, it doesn't matter what I thought in the past because it doesn't hold true anymore.
Yeah, it's no longer true.
No,
we're
it
in a
still is
happy
true.
society now. It's like, no, we're not. No.
Yeah.
It is. Wow, it's illuminating because I have always been questioning why this professor of social psychology of all places.
Yep.
Damn.
I understand because my bachelor's degree was, in elementary education from the College of Psychology. Like, my, degree is based in a lot of hours of psychology classes, a lot of courses. Some really heartbreaking courses, in fact, because child and adolescent psychology is all the psychology. Anybody tells you there's adult psychology, they are either BSing you or they are talking about an incredible minority of human beings. There's hardly any actual real grown-ups in this world, y'all. And
we're talking a percent or less.
And I've been told that by psychiatrists teaching child and adolescent psych development classes. Of people who were literally running institutions, and this was what they were doing at night because the pay was so low. That they're like, no, you don't need to worry about adult psychology. Everything you need to know is being taught in your child and adolescent psychology classes because there's nothing. Do you know how many few adults there are in this world that actually qualify for adult psychology? It's like less than 1%, really.
Yeah.
She's like, I think there's 2 people I've ever worked with in my entire career who was a genuine adult from a psychology point of view. All the rest still qualified under child and adolescent psychology. And she was saying that about psychology professionals, like real professionals, people who graduated from fully accredited universities with PhDs and MDs. For real, y'all.
Although CB does make a case for being adult because she is taking care of her stuff.
Has got it together. Like, I admire her, and when I grow up, I want to be CB. I want to be putting out. By the way, CB, I'm sorry. Earlier, I got distracted. I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all, honey. If you would like feedback / editing of any kind on your work, let's do it. Let's do this. Me and Tom will read it. We'll give you editorial stuff, whatever level you want. You let us know. If you just want grammar, I will freaking fix this for you. Because trust me, I literally can do grammar having not had 25 hours of sleep, having been more than 25 hours since I've slept. And I can do grammar editorials. I could pop that baby out. I would be happy to help you with your feedback if that's what you want.
Laura and I, by the way, are different on grammar.
Oh, yes, because I'm a new wave grammarist or whatever. Grammar, what is it? What is the word?
Grammarist.
Grammar. I'm a new wave grammarist, and Tom is a classic grammarist. So, I mean, you do need to tell us which one you want, because I can pop it out fast. But anyway, we would be happy to give you feedback in any capacity you would like. Just let us know, sweetheart. I genuinely mean that. I hope you know how to get to me, message-wise. But there's always my email address. What's your email address, Glory? It is my channel name at Gmail.
Yeah, same with me. Same with me.
So I would be happy to We are community, and we are here for each other. So anyway, let's see. Wait, my Maggie, where is it? We have a woman VP, so there are no more crimes against women or equality. Oh, Maggie. That's where you put the /sarcasm part.
Yeah. Sarcasm.
CB says, if my mother hadn't taught me to cook, I'd starve. I mean, yeah, I'm still working on teaching Tom. She says, I've actually got someone to help me with my grammar. Okay, well, I'm just saying, like, you had said before, like, nobody was willing to help you with the feedback and stuff, and I am very happy to help you.
Yeah. Whatever kind of stuff you need, whatever kind of editing or reading
whatever
stuff
you want, because we're here for you. I mean that. I mean, for anyone else too who would like feedback of whatever nature, just you need to let us know what level of editorial feedback you would like, because we're not good mind readers, it turns out. It doesn't come with any of the alphabet soup of my, abilities. I mean, yeah, anyway.
Being a mind reader is a pain in the. I don't wish that on anyone.
I'm
and
good at reading dog minds, though, y'all. I am so
Mm.
good. I'm a dog psychic.
Dog psych. Oh yeah, dogs. I used to. I mean, I don't have any disclaimer. I don't have any official dog trainer degree. I don't have any degree on. No. I was just a student who worked as a pet sitter, dog walker. And I don't know why, but I had a great understanding with all the clients' pets.
Yeah,
it was fantastic. I miss them so much. I still remember them, and it's like, oh my god! I one of them was like a person to me. It behaved like a human to me. Like we had such a close understanding, and she was such a smart dog. I was like, she's like a person.
Yes, don't you love it? Hello, Laura. How did the fire alarm go? I assume that means it wasn't like actual fire. It was just silverfish. When I went to school in Canada, the silverfish were always setting off the fire alarms all the time.
Right. Same thing. I was in a dorm once. One of the many places I moved into, it was a dorm. And all of a sudden, I was like, what the hell's going on? What's this? And I just, the first thing I grabbed was my guitar, and I just ran downstairs.
Well, there at least we could listen to music while waiting for them to check the place.
I didn't know if it was real fire or not. I didn't. So I was like, oh crap! I just grabbed my guitar. Like the first thing that you grab in a fire is like my guitar.
See, Violet gets it. We have a lot of dog speakers and a dog psychics here. Like, I feel like we are among friends.
Among people. Yes.
Yes, get it.
I speak dog and I speak cat as well.
Yeah, I don't speak cat as well, but I do enjoy cats. Laura says I have no idea what the alarm went off from, but okay.
Same thing. Yeah, they usually don't tell you, like this is a simulation. No, they don't tell you. They just blast it off and you have to run. I'm like, why? Why do you do? I used to be very I still am, but I have overcome some of that. But I used to be pyrophobic, like to the extreme. Like pyrophobia was a problem. I couldn't see a stove because oh my god, there's fire, and it's like calm down. Now I can. Now I can. I lit candles and everything. So I have overcome a lot of that. But back in those times, I still had a lot of that anxiety, and they blast off an alarm. And I'm on a 5th floor. I'm like, no. I grab your shit and run, just run. And everyone was like, oh, it's a simulation. I'm like, son of a.
Every time you say simulation, I'm thinking of the Matrix instead of like, what is it? What is the American phrase for it? It's a drill.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
It's a drill.
In America, we say it's a drill. So you say simulation, I'm like the Matrix. Which frankly I think makes it better. Yes, Laura is eating her Blizzard chips. I think that's a great idea. Everyone have your snack. I had a little pecans earlier. Yes, and I have one of my crowns that I was given to by a young patron. She made this for me.
At some point, I'm sorry, words. I can English, I promise you. At some point I will have to go for dinner, like officially. I will just have to get the.
I think we're about ready to wrap up. It's been almost 4 hours.
Oh my god!
I'm so impressed that everybody has stuck around, but also big praise to everyone. I can't believe you made it this far, but you're awesome. I do want to go ahead and remind again, like, next Monday, we're going to talk about music and
Music.
specifically a call for everyone's playlist in any format you want to share it. The only thing I would say for guidelines is make sure you check your settings on each of the playlists you would like to share, that it's not on
They are
private.
public. Yeah, so they
Make sure it's public
playlist.
or in some way that if people have the link that they can access it. That is literally my only suggestion or guideline. Beyond that, you know, you do
Share
you,
your
because
music.
I'm going to like listen to all of them or at least go through them and like as I can. I like the YouTube playlist simply because I can play it on the TV.
You're gonna get all my Paulina Gagarina stuff.
I'm gonna enjoy. I love music. I love music.
Yeah.
Of course, like it's always helpful with playlists if you tell us like what is this playlist for? Is this for when you're grooving, when you're cooking, whatever, you know, like sometimes context can be helpful, but it is not necessary. I don't want anyone to feel boxed in. This is not what we are about. I'm just gonna keep frankly,
I literally put the book title in there. Like sci-fi
exactly.
book 1, blah blah blah. Like the story title, blah blah blah. Like my short story Danger has a playlist. And the playlist is available on my YouTube channel. Like there it is. It's like it's a play. It was there even before the story was published. So one of the early installments of my channel was that.
And also, I want to point out that like anybody can come on our stream, including in avatar mode. Obviously, we're very avatar mode friendly. And they can come on during the live and even explain the playlist they're sharing. Like, I have brought you this playlist, and this is what, and this is like, maybe there's a musician on here I want you all to listen to, and this is what I get out of it, da-da-da. If you would like to essentially make your pitch, you do not have to make your pitch. You can literally just put the link in the chat on, you know, our music day.
I'm so game for this. I'm doing
I
that.
feel like I'm so excited about it. It's going to be great.
I mean, next month, especially since Tom has read the thing, I'm like, dude, it's like I just want to talk music. It's like there is a song for everything on that book.
I mean, look, I would be absolutely thrilled if so many people came, like including on stage, if you will, you know, on the StreamYard, to talk about it that I never even get to talk about my stuff. It's like, yeah, that would be awesome. Like,
please do.
Not that I don't want to, but it's like, yes, I would love there be such a big party that, you know, we're like, well, we're just gonna have to do this again next time.
Yay!
More people get opportunities, and maybe I'll get to talk about my music playlist. I mean, I'll still share the playlist links anyway. But I would absolutely love it since, as I said, we can have up to 10. So that's 8 other people at any given time. And also we can honestly rotate people. Right. I've been told that that's possible. Yeah. So I'm very interested in figure out of like practicing this. And yes, let's pray for a wind-free Monday in Colorado for Maggie.
I want to see you there, Maggie.
Oh, I love Maggie. I was just like, yes, Maggie with the perseverance. Oh, it's awesome. So that is what we're doing next Monday. I hope everybody gets a chance to come. And then, yes, in April, we're going to start back with the Getting Excited About Movies show.
Woohoo!
Where we're like, hey, we're going to talk about superhero movies. Mostly because we know, like, everybody's seen some of these more than likely, or at least has access to it. And like just as a way to talk about storytelling mechanics and how to deal with various issues in like plots and how to tell stories, because we want everybody to get the benefit of our literal decades of like our mother and our mother's family talking about storytelling and our parents taking us to meet all sorts of storytellers and, you know, teaching us how to tell stories. Because as my mom put it, when I was 5 years old, she's like, I'm going to teach you how to tell stories. Do you know why it's important? I'm like, I'm 5. No, I don't know. Probably in her story, I said that, and I very likely actually said, I'm 5. No, I don't know why this is important. And she said, because you can do a lot with stories. Telling stories can get you in the door when no one will let you in. Stories can get you out the door when nobody will let you out. Stories can save a life, including your own. You never know. And I'm like, and she said, I know you're skeptical now. I'm going to teach you how to tell stories, and you're going to see what I mean. And then, you know, that was what she did. Was honestly, it was one of the things we talked about for literally decades, was telling stories. It was part of her family tradition, all the way from Eastern Europe. So we want everyone else to benefit from this, because what's the point of horseshit, right?
I'm curious, which part of Eastern Europe? Like, do you know the country or like?
We know the actual ghetto.
Yeah, it's Lithuania.
Ooh,
Well,
that's so cool. Oh
in
my god.
Ukraine.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a
It's a
it
mix.
depends on
So
the
it's the
decade.
problem with borders and what year we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right. Oh wow, but no, but like Lithuania and Ukraine, they have so much mythology and
Oh,
so.
yes.
Oh my god! It's
Oh,
whoa.
yeah. It's why we have very particular, considered odd and different mythology for Eastern Europe
Mhm.
than most people who have Eastern Europe mythology, because apparently where our family from,
Well, our mother's side.
our mother's
Mhm.
side, is like almost 180 degrees opposite of everyone else's views about various creatures.
Like Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga. Yep.
My mother always told us Baba Yaga stories as like Baba Yaga was a good old lady in the woods, but don't piss her off. Don't be rude. And she will always look out for you. And that was how Mama. And then I grow up and start reading Baba Yaga stories that are printed, and I'm like, was my mother just super feminist? Like, was she just rewriting these? No, it turns out she wasn't. We're from a very specific area that are the only area in all of Europe that has positive and and stories of Baba Yaga as a beneficial, wise woman who was good to people who were lost in the woods as long as they were kind and polite.
Yeah, it's like 100 square kilometers
It's really
in all
small.
of Europe.
This is awesome.
So yeah, like, and
guys,
so we
you
have all
have
this
to-
weird mythology.
Guys,
too.
make an episode about this.
Yeah.
Please.
Well,
Oh
and
my
I've even
God.
written some Baba Yaga stories that are going to be coming out pretty soon as part of the Onion Story series, where these two brownies are telling stories, and they keep telling. So anyway, all right. Stay tuned. Be sure to like and subscribe. Particularly ring that bell if you would like to get a notification when these stories go live.
Yes.
There.
There you go.
I think that, do we have any other than like before the outros? Is there anything else?
Just be kind.
Yes, be kind and loving and compassionate. And when you feel alone or you feel like nobody's in your corner, you know what? You could always ding me. And I will be happy to respond, or at least I will send you a ton of memes. I will like meme you, and I will do my best to get you smiling. Because one of my love languages turns out to be memes. And I've got a meme for that too. So, Doll, would you like to do an outro, sweetheart?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
All right, humans. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show today. I'm very happy to be here to learn and to share all the things. I am Dal Cecil Bruno. I am a partially blind own voices author, also known as the Ace from Space. I write primarily science fiction, but I also write short stories in different genres and a little bit of poetry. I stream on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern. And soon I'll be streaming on Twitch on Fridays and Saturdays, probably at the same time, 9 p.m. 9 a.m. in the morning Eastern. I have short stories out that you can check out. If you want to support me, you can buy the ebook versions. And if you just want to listen for some of the stories for free, they are on my YouTube channel, Dal Cecil Bruno. And I also have Patreon and Coffee, whatever it is, the way that it's more comfortable for you. If you want to support me, you don't have to, but I have the mediums if you want to. So yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to share my experiences and my stories, and I hope you enjoy. I hope I can contribute something nice to your life. Thank you.
All right, let me. Okay, Tom, would you like to do an outro? You don't have to. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to do something they don't want to here, because that's not how we roll.
I'm never really sure what to say.
You don't have to, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Hi, I'm Glory. That is, by the way, my real name. People lately have been discovering me, and Glory Writes the Blues is an awesome title. I mean, I will admit this. That's why Tom was the one who gave it to me. And my mother is the one who named me Glory. So that is my real, genuine given name, by the way. But yeah, my channel is Glory Writes the Blues, and my Twitch stream is also Glory Writes the Blues, because I've been writing the blues since I was a little girl. We stream every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. the show may change, but we are always on Mondays at 4. So we hope that if you've enjoyed it, you will come back and contribute to the conversation, because it's really about our whole community on both platforms, or let's say all platforms. Then like just what we have to say. And if you'd ever like to join us on stage, we would absolutely love to have you. Let us know. Let's see. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting, Tom? No? Okay, I'm out there.
Just that,
I don't want to look at my
and we change up our kind of subject matter about every 2 to 3 months. Like we really try to switch between autism and movies, and we're also looking at maybe doing community building and other things, so that it's not always one subject and style. We like know, so come back later if this isn't your particular thing. You may be surprised and enjoy our next idea.
Oh, weren't we going to talk about the anthology?
We were, but I almost feel like waiting a week.
No? Okay. Okay, well, there'll be an announcement next week. Yeah, so thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you being here, because you make this worth doing. Thank you so much. We love you. Mwah! Now, let me play the new outro Tom made for us. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.